ほら、ルフィ、今一緒に海賊になる仲間を探してるんだ。
Hello guys, welcome to my channel The Wandering Zoro, your go-to destination for anime-related content. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. In today's video, we're going to be diving into part last of the series. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. Deku sits outside of a warehouse with some goons wearing clown masks walking around outside with guns. Deku shakes his head, a slight amusement on his face. Deku transforms into a humanoidable wolf with dark gray fur. That's when the Omnitrix fritzes out for a second as a black slime runs up the wolf's body, transforming it slightly with spikes on its elbows and shoulders and small spikes across his body. It's furby black with its once green eyes, replaced by white with a spider-like pattern across. Its body with its claws being more sharper. Deku Blitzwolfer. It looks like the symbiote DNA has leaked in and not just its own containment, and now can enhance my other aliens. Deku runs and jumps his body, almost leaping through the air. Then black tentacles wrap around the lamppost and carry him straight towards it, hanging him upside down somewhat like Batman, with Deku watches as one of the guards on standby turns his head as Deku's body lunges down a spike created on the end of his tail, stabbed right through the guard before his body gets pulled up and Deku consumes it. Deku's thoughts: what is a Hilton? I just eat somebody. Right, symbiotes need to consume. I'm guessing these enhancements also come with the same downsides as a symbiote, and also gives me an appetite like a symbiote. When the other guy turns around to see his friend gone, he looks around in confusion before looking at see Deku hanging there menacingly. Before the guy could scream, the exact same thing happens to him. Deku rips the door off its hinges as the Joker sits there looking completely confused. Joker, who are you supposed to be? Joker watches as all of his men start firing and guns straight at stake. Of the bullet seem to be hitting him, but getting absorbed in his body. A big guy dragging a hammer rushes at Deku. The hammer swings down, but then hit the ground harmlessly. Joker looks at the guy's chest to see a giant spike of silver and black right through the guy's stomach. The guy falls to his knees while holding the blade through his chest before he gets ripped out to reveal Deku's tail, with a giant spike fused onto it. This is when the guy falls to his knees. Deku rips his head off and swallows it. Deku, I'm vengeance. Joker, Batman would have let you kill one of his villains, would he? Deku, Batman isn't here. Thank you. Watches as all of the villains start rushing at him, weapons drawn. Deku slaughters them all one by one while slowly walking towards the Joker before Harley Quinn thrushes out of the shadows and hits Deku on the head with a giant mullet. The hammer hits Deku square before the handle snaps. Deku grabs Harley Quinn by the head before his tail whacks her on the back of the neck, making her body go limp as her body hits the ground unconscious. Joker fires a Canadian straight. Deku catches it out of midair as it breaks the Joker gas coming out of it, but not even phasing that. Deku black tentacles wrap around the grenade, stopping the gas from spreading. That's when Joker gets lit like a Christmas tree before hitting the ground. Decor sees a man with shorter black hair, a black mask covering his eyes, and Ace Bluebird on his black bodysuit, while holding two staffs with blue electricity sparking of them. Deku, Nightwing. Nightwing, Alfred told me you were in town. Called when it comes to the Joker. The Omnitrix flash is red before timing out with the logo staying red. Deku, it turns out a new enhancement from a new alien DNA kind of made it, so I'm more violent and prone to go for the kill. Nightwing, well, Mr. Freeze turned himself in poison IVs behind bars. Killer Croc's still on the loose, and well this. Deku, Killer Croc is in the sewers, free blocks from the police station. Now, before you go and fight him or do whatever you do, I kind of made a deal with him. He stays in the sewers, and we don't go off to him unless he does something bad, but he has to give us a good reason for it. And he's also going to go after some low rankings who think they can use the sewers as a way to get around. Nightwing, you're telling me in almost one day, you not only took down most of Batman's roster, we've only 3 remaining. You made a deal with Killer Croc that we can't even provide evidence that he will break it unless he actually does in our sights. You also cured an incurable sickness with Mr. Freeze when we going back into prison. Deku, well, next I'm going after Two-Face Spain, then Penguin. Don't worry, I won't try to use the symbiote's enhancement. Before Nightwing could say anything, that could walks out of there, leaving Nightwing to deal with the police, which arrived not even a minute later. Deku spends it the rest of the day chilling out at Wayne Manor and just having a good time. When the sun begins to set, Deku walks outside and just currently chilling on top of the building with Two-Face sat in an apartment talking to Penguin on the phone. As soon as Two-Face hands up, Deku walks through the building, easily taking out the guards before. Standing there and just looking at Two-Face. Two-Face looks slightly pale, already heard of what happened with the Joker before Two-Faces could even move. Deku rashes at him, kicking a chair straight towards Two-Face. Two-Face instinctively crosses both of his arms, blocking the chair, before Deku's fist breaks through the chair and hits him square in the jaw, with his jaw cracking beneath it, sending Two-Face flying back and hitting his head on the wall, knocking him out. Almost instantly, Deku heads out of the building seconds before the police enter. Over the next few days, Deku help us Batman with some small issues that usually eventually Deku heads back to Japan. Everybody is sat in class waiting for Deku to arrive. Deku sliced door open, him looking slightly tired with Jenny on his shoulders. Ida is highly disrespectful to bring a sibling onto UA property without permission. Deku: actually, I have 100% permission, since technically I'm here on a scholarship that mainly involves seeing how well an ex-vigilante can do in a hero school. And second, this ain't my sister, that is my daughter. Deku watches as Ida has a system malfunction. Jenny just chuckles before climbing off Deku's shoulders and chatting with a few of the girls in class. Marinette approaches Deku with a somewhat of a smile. Marinette: so what was the restriction the rat gave you? So, no, he's not letting you use your full arsenals, not even I could stop you. Deku: I'm only allowed to use the Classic 10, but I'm replacing Ghost Freak with a secret. Issei: dude, he said Classic 10, which means oh. No, please tell me the original Classic, not any other. Deku: listen up, when I were heading straight to the chain rooms, make it fast, and me, as in the one awaiting room, in 5 minutes. Jenny, you're gonna have to go to girls. Deku notices that Bakugo and Todoroki are whispering to each other in the corner. Eventually, everybody had their respective changing room. Deku puts on the PE uniform while waiting for the rest of his class. Bakugo eventually approaches Deku. Bakugo: listen, Deku, I know we've done some things in the past, so I want to just say this outright. I'm sorry. It was your Izumi's idea to bully you until you stop wanting to be a hero. So can we start over? I mean, Jester's classmates, not like how it used to be. Shoto: I'm with Katsuki on this one. We understand what we did was wrong, and we want to start over. Deku: that's all I want to hear was in the apology from you, but yeah, we're cool for now. Right, listen up, 1A boys. Class 1A heads to a rating room, waiting for the president to make to announce them. Deku stands in front of the door and decides to give a speech. Deku: we have been through a lot together, more than any first years. Are they going to throw everything they've had as Class 1B, and all the other classes will not stop until they show up the so-called strongest class. So let's show them why we are here, why we survived that building attack. People think being a hero is all about strong abilities and overwhelming power, but that's all along. Being a hero is about putting others before yourself. Now, let's show you the world what Class 1A can do. Present Mike. Class 1A head to the stadium. They all head out to the stadium. Deku sees all the other classes followed not far behind them out of the other exits to the arena. Present Mike explained how this year's sports festival will be a little different than previous ones, since they have a few special exceptions in their school year. Nizu: and I am joining them in this year's connotation, since we have 3 very special students that you may know one of them by the news. After all of the first-year classes walk into the stadium, Deku looks toward Class 1B and sees some familiar faces mixed in with some new ones mixed in. So, Clean Midnight steps out and stands on the podium while looking at all of the students. Deku, Marinette, and Issei stand next to each other with Deku in the middle with his arms crossed. Midnight: for the first-year referees, that would be yours truly. Now, usually Present Mike would be giving the announcements, but currently he is busy and he will be joining us after the first event. Now, for the first event. Midnight cracked away against the ground as a giant holographic wheel starts spinning before landing on obstacle course. Midnight cracks her whip again. Midnight: it looks like the first challenge is an obstacle course. But before anything, a word from our first-year representative, Izuku Benjamin Tennyson. Deku shakes his head before walking onto the stage, right next to Midnight Deku, takes the mic from the stand, and looks straight ahead at all of the classes and a few of the people in the stadium. Deku, listen, these days heroics is about flashy quirks and strong abilities. If you don't have a license, you're not a hero, you're a vigilante. So listen up for all of you who are here for money, fame, of status, pack your staff up. And leave, I've been doing heroics for years, and I'm not going to like some brat with an overpowered ability become a hero. Do you want to be a hero? Then put others before yourself. Not all situations can be solved with brute force. And being a hero is not about a piece of paper that says you can. Being a hero is about helping those who are in need. Without respecting anything in return, gratitude itself is the best payment for being a hero. So let me say these words to everybody. It doesn't matter if you have a quirk or have no powers. If you want to be a hero, do the right thing for anyone you can. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. That's the true meaning of being a hero. In an alleyway in a different city, a man wearing dark rags and a red one across his face with jagged sword across his body, standing over an armored person with his suit really resembling an old-fashioned knight. The figure in the armor talks. You won't get away with this, Stain. Stain, you're a fake hero just like the rest of these, but that kid is a true hero through and through. Stain says about pointing across the alleyway to a TV playing Deku's message on live TV. Stain, I give him permission to end my life, but not a fake like you. But since I'm in a good mood, you will survive this encounter. Stain says while stabbing his sword right through the armored person's spine before ripping it out and licking the vital fluid. Stain puts the sword back on his back after wiping away the vital fluid into a small jar that he sits in his belt. We cut back to UA. Deku is looking over all of the heroes in the stadium who are looking at him with a mix of disgust, but a few of them looking at him with respect. Deku hands the mic back to Midnight before walking straight to his spot in between Marinette and Issei. All of the classes look at him with disdain, but Deku doesn't pay him any attention. Everybody head to the tunnel that is currently lit for the race to begin. Deku, Marinette, and Issei stand in the backlight stretching. Marinette, so we do this quirkless, or? Deku, now we'll save that for the second round, because we need to show them why they don't mess with Team Tennyson. Marionette rolls her eyes before closing her necklace. Issei snaps his fingers as the boosted gear appears, or on it. Debut presses a button, making the Omnitrix core pop up before he presses it down as a bright light shine through the entire stadium. A 7-feet muscular wolf-like alien with 6 wolf-like legs, 3 scorpion-like tails, and 4 large leathery wings, crouching in a predatory stance as if ready to pounce. Rock-furred skin texture, primarily void black with crimson red highlights on mane, wings, tail tips, and horns. 6 backward pointing dragon-like horns, dark crimson fluffy mane for glowing green eyes, jagged beast-like teeth, faint acidic drool. Armored Omnitrix on upper left arm, sleek black with crimson accents, integrated into rock-furred texture, featuring dual cores. Original Omnitrix glowing green and fan made Shaketrix core glowing crimson. Acid dripping from mouth and tail tips, subtle growth aura, partial invisibility shimmer. Issei, it's been a while since I've seen Beast Riot. Marinette, you know we're going to have to fight him and that transformation. They both look at who's slightly scared, but then hop on his back when the doors open. The floor immediately gets frozen with a small area around Deku. Melting instantly, a small bit of draw drops out of Deku's mouth as it hits the ground and melts a hole through it. Deku casually walks through the tunnel, melting the ice beneath him. When you get outside of the tunnel, an army of robots from the entrance exam. Deku rushes towards the zero-pointer. The zero-pointer brings it arm down, intending to crush Deku, runs up it before starting straight at its head as his tail's rushing straight into its systems before ripping out a small hole before Deku starts spewing acid from his mouth, the acid burning through the zero-pointer. Deku spreads all 4 of his wings before flying over the rest of the obstacles, making everybody's eyes widen. A few auto turrets on the side of the path lock on with Deku before firing sticky foam straight at Decoy's wings. But the foam doesn't do anything. Eventually, Deku makes it back to the finish line with him coming in first, Marinette second, and Issei third place after 20 more minutes. All of the UA first years finally get through the entrance looking battered, bruised, and slightly tired Deku Marinette and Issei right a little while everybody catches back their breath and gets ready for the next one. That's when a loud voice is heard over the speakers. Present Mike. Sorry if you were missing me, but now I'm back, and joining me on the commentary today is Class 1A home teacher Aizawa and a very young principal of UA. Aizawa, can you shut up? Nizu. Well, usually we would continue with the wheel, but for the second match, I'm changing it up quite personally. This next one is first year's massacre. The last 20 students remaining will move on to the next round. Deku / Marinette / Issei. Hell yeah. Deku, I can use clockwork as long as you don't die. All of 1A and the other class slowly part away from a greening Deku Marinette and Issei. Aizawa, problem children just don't traumatize anyone apart from that. Show them what real Vigilante can do. Problem children, for safety purposes, you free after getting the middle straight away. The trio stands in the middle. Deku stretches slightly. Deku press down the Omnitrix, turning into a small humanoid frog-like creature wearing a black bodysuit. Deku, gray matter? I want it for arms. Well, it looks like I'm still going to be kicking somebody's, but Marinette picks up Deku before the bell goes off, and all of the students start rushing at each other, with a few of them rushing towards team. Tennyson Marinette froze gray matter through the air. Gray matter hits a random student square in the face before a bright green flash enveloped Deku as an orange wolf-like creature with no eyes and a snarling mouth with a slight armored plating on its shoulder with the Omnitrix on the center. Deku slams his hand into the ground before letting out a beastly growl. A student, covered in dark brown fur, rushes towards Wild Mutt before Wild Mutt jumps into the air and slams down on his back, slamming him face first into the ground. A few other students trying to get lucky with attacks, but immediately get punched, kicked, and slammed into the ground, leaving a few broken bones. Deku transforms again, this time transforming into a tall humanoid creature that is black and white with green cybernetic patterns and a circle where his face should be. Deku upgrade? There's no technology. That's when Deku sees a girl with a bunch of machines attached to her body, her pink dreadlocks, a slightly singed and very messy. Deku runs up to her and immediately leaked into all the technology, it forming a suit of armor around her, making her confused. Deku, sorry about this, I need technology. May, never thought I'd meet Upgrade or Ben Tennyson in the same day. May come to support workshop, and we could go over blueprints. Deku, the Omnitrix could use a tuna. All of May's gadgets reform around her into a giant suit of armor with giant blasters for hands. Deku starts firing in rapid succession, sending a few of the students flying. Deku turns to see Marinette almost teleporting and smacking them across the place, while having a slight grain. Issei is running around like a lunatic, firing off random spells while slightly laughing. Deku Consuer, he heard Issei scream at one point, random BS go. After 2 minutes of Deku providing cover fire while using May's gadgets, Deku leaps off before tapping the Omnitrix again, this time turning into Heat Blast. You flies in the middle with Issei getting flung by an explosion and lands up right next to Deku. Issei stands up and holds both his hands, or with the boosted gear out, Deku holds both of his hands up at the same time. Deku / Issei, we cast Fireball. That's when a giant fireball almost the size of the stadium appears above the stadium, with everybody looking up at it in surprise and fear. The fireball hits the ground as a huge explosion of warm air makes a few of them pass out by sheer fear. The Omnitrix flashes right. You stand next to Issei. They both look at each other before Deku turns to a giant holographic screen in the center to show that there are 23 students left. That's when Deku sees a blonde-head boy using the Bakugo's explosions. Deku picks up a rock before launching it. It hits the kid inside of the head, making him hit the ground and conscious. That's when a huge buzzer goes off and Deku looks up, but you see only 20 students remain. Marinette lands next to them. She slightly stretches. Marinette, well, that was anticlimactic. Issei, hey, what can we expect? We used to fighting at least city-level threats. The Omnitrix turns green before Deku turns into clockwork, and we wind everybody to just before the fight. That body's not their mental state. They all get up, their head still hurting, and some of them still passed out before medical robots come in and start taking them away. Present Mike. We will take a lunch break before we continue with the last event, which would be A. The wheel spins again and land on one-on-one combat. Aizawa. Looks like the last battles can be a one-on-one brawls. Now for everybody who is moving to the next round, make sure you're also prepared. Everybody heads out of the arena. We cut to the cafeteria where Team Tennyson is set up the table in the corner with the same pink head girl as before sat with them. May. So let me get this straight. You found an alien spaceship with the baselines for your Omnitrix. You have no idea how it worked or how the actual thing functioned, but using some scrunched up blueprints and some quick engineering you redesigned at the most powerful weapon in the universe. Marinette. And anytime he finds out something cool about a new function, he adds it to it like the Omni Armor. Issei, and the Energy Sword. Deku will I continuously need to tune its sense. Yes, the original creator did make it almost perfect, but it's buggy as hell, and sometimes it mistransforms, and sometimes it just cuts off made to fight. Albedo. I haven't seen you three fight like that in a very long time. Deku. I think last time was the hybrid invasion. Albedo sits across from May. Deku. Well, let's just hope it ain't going to be the two of us against each other. Albedo. Afraid I might beat you. Deku, no. I'm using my classic 10 meaning I have years of practice with them. May's lights out a small squeal as she sees Albedo's Ultimatrix. May takes it in her hand and looks at it, her eyes filled with stars. May. I guess it works like the Omnitrix. But it looks completely different, so maybe some different functions. Deku/Albedo. Not really. May, how so? Deku. Well, at first it was unique, but after I seen in action and what the ultimate forms of certain aliens of mine could do here, may or may not have copied the technology based fully ultimate forms and replicated into mind, except where hers does it for 1,000,000 years. Albedo. Yours doesn't do it from 1,000,000 years? Issei. 10 million. May. How does the dot ultimate function work? Albedo. Tennyson can explain that to you since he's the one who copied it off me. Deku. Well, the ultimate function works by somewhat simulating a scenario. The selected DNA in a matter of seconds will go through an entire 10 million years of evolution in the harshest environment for that species. I'm talking a death environment for that species, simulated for 10 million years on, meaning it's way stronger than hers. Albedo. Oh, really, you want to do this? Deku. If we do fight an ultimate battle, one alien ultimate forms straight off the bat. Albedo. You're on. Present mic. May all students head to their booths for their classes while we sort out the liner for the battles. May. Well, that ain't gonna be me. Hey, do you mind if I come to the 1A booth? Marinette. I don't suggest that since we have a few loud blondes and a few other things. But hey, if you want, we can hang out after school. Deku/Issei. Yeah, I'm down to hang out with you after school. May. I'll be in the class 1H workshop coming me after the sports festival. Deku. By any chance to remind recording the fights, so I can go over the footage later. May. Sure thing, boss. May stand up and drags a slightly broken jetpack and hoverboots hallway all of class 1. They heads to their booth. When they get there, they see Charmcaster, and Jenny sat on the bench waiting for them. If he walks up to Charmcaster and gives her a quick kiss on the cheek. Deku. How are two of my favorite girls doing? Charmcaster. So when are you going to tell me about the big chill incident? Issei/Marinette. Holy cow, almost forgot about that. Deku. I thought you already knew about that. Charmcaster. Jenny, please wait outside. I have to talk to your father. Deku. No, Jenny, please stay. Jenny just gives Deku a fake salute before walking out of the booth. Deku. Okay, hear me out. I couldn't help it. Big chill species does such every 70 years. And since technically in human years, every one for a necrophian is 10 years, for a human meaning, when I turned 7, I was practically 70 as a necrophrian. And to be fair, once a necrophilian's eggs hatch, the kids fly off to the distant part of the galaxy, and they are never to be seen again. Unless they come back. Charmcaster. Izuku Benjamin Tennyson. Class 1A. Holy cow, not good. Charmcaster. Oh, don't worry, you won't be getting your punishment yet, but let's just say you'll be happening sooner rather than later, and trust me, you better hope. Charmcaster leans in close to Deku's ear, her voice a very charming whisper, but with a hint of menace. Charmcaster. You got Raven Prego. Ho, and your punishment on my end will be picking 2 girls out of your class to be our girlfriends, and there is no backtalk. Understood. Deku, yes. Charmcaster pulls away before slapping Deku's rear, and a few seconds later, Jenny walks in and sits down. Everybody waits a little while before the first matchup between Katsumi Bakugo and Jiro. Deku Jiro. Jiro. Deku. Katsumi always opens with a left hook followed by a right hook explosion. She has a short temper, so make sure to use that to your advantage. Jiro. Yeah, thanks for the tip. Little while later, Katsumi is walking up one side of the arena, with Jiro walking up the other side. Midnight raises her whip before striking the ground as Katsumi rushes towards Jiro. Katsumi immediately throws a left hook as Jiro immediately ducks before a right hook hits her in the shoulder, followed by an explosion burning half of a pea. Uniform off, Jiro looks down and sees her skin burnt and slightly showing the raw muscle beneath. She holds her sight in pain, but earphone jacks strike into the ground and a huge sound cracks the concrete, sending small bits of rubble flying into the air, and getting Katsu's eyes, Katsumi starts throwing explosions like a wild animal before grabbing Jiro by the neck, before whispering something and throwing her out of bounds. Midnight. Winner Katsumi Bakugo. Jiro slowly heads back to the 1A booth before sitting right next to Deku. Deku pulls out a bunch of bone creams and other burn-related injury treatments. Jiro speaks to Deku, her voice slightly sad. Jiro. Hey Izuku. Deku, what's up? Jiro. I attractive. I mean, I don't have a hot body like the rest of the girls, and they're more tomboy than anything. Deku looks towards Charmcaster, her giving him a nod of approval. Deku. You might not have the same kind of body as the rest of the girls in the class, but I think that adds to your charm. I mean, I'm trying to say is you have your own charm, so stop trying to be something you're not. Just roll with your own personality and don't worry about what anyone else thinks. Jiro looks up and her eyes meet with Deku's. Jiro's short hair is slightly burnt on one side, almost revealing her bare head. Deku notices some slight bleeding in her ears and just brushes her hair out of her face. Deku, you're going to have to do something about this burn hair. It won't go back. Nitroglycerin completely stops the growth of hair. If it's burnt, meaning you're going to have that burnt patch for a very, very long time. Jiro, cut it for me. Before Deku could say anything, Jiro sits on his lap with Marinette hunting Deku a pair of scissors. That's when the next fight is announced between Izumi Yagi and Achiko Uraraka. Deku turns back towards Jiro before gently moving her hair to just past her ear and start carefully cutting it without hitting any of the burned spots and revealing some hidden ones that would have been covered up by her hair. Deku spends a good few minutes trimming it carefully and using some burn cream on the burnt spots, then making sure it doesn't hurt her. After a little, while Deku looks at her as she slowly stands up to face him, her hair being almost completely gone on one side, but it doesn't mess with her usual style. Marinette, you look good. Jiro. Jenny, does that make you my third mom? Everybody goes completely quiet, and Deku slightly chokes on air. Jiro, you know what, Jen? Yes. Yes, it does. Issei, you owe me 20. Marinette, seriously, you couldn't have went with somebody from 1B. Mina, hey Tennyson, what's with that, an alien from the first game? Deku, Beast Riot, that's its name, and while the list of abilities is kind of weird, starts off, it can produce acid from its mouth, it can fly. Because of its wings, it has 3 different kinds of highly toxic venoms in each of its tails. It's literally more tougher than Diamond Head. They can grow inside like Humongosaur. Marinette, don't forget that Beastway is also from a planet with a red sun, and since it technically can absorb radiation, yeah, it kind of gives off red sun radiation, meaning Superman can't even touch it. Deku, it can also turn invisible, and it has a highly advanced sense of smell, sight, and hearing, but it's also weak to loud frequencies like a dog was sore or something like that. Hey, if you over 1,000 hertz damages ears. Ida, and its species name? Issei. If I remember correctly, it was Predator Samantha. Deku, name's weird, but species is awesome. Looks towards the arena to see Midnight announcing that Izumi has won the first match. Achiko is getting pulled away by a stretcher, thus being carried by some medical robots. A few minutes later, Izumi walks into the Class 1, the booth looking slightly annoyed before sitting in the corner. Present Mike. The next battle is between Izuku Benjamin Tennyson versus Katsuki Bakugo while our fighters get ready. Deku, hey Katsuki, just because we're cool now and doesn't mean I have forgave you for all those years. So get ready for a whooping. Katsuki. Trust me, Deku, I'm going to put you in the dirt. They both walk out of their base slight confident smile. Playing on their face a few minutes later, they walk straight onto the arena with them staring each other down. Midnight, you boys ready? Deku and Katsuki give Midnight a notch. She raises her whip before cracking the ground as Katsuki rockets himself forward with his explosions. Deku, running straight towards him, Katsuki throws a right hook straight towards Deku, but Deku grabs his arm mid-motion, launches him over his shoulder before slamming him straight down to the ground before throwing a punch straight down with Katsuki Bailey rolling away from the punch. Deku hits the concrete, but just looks towards him. Katsuki blasts himself into the air before throwing explosions left and right. Got you is casually sidestepping every explosion before they go off. Deku chucks a mean right hook straight into Katsuki's face, singing him stumbling back before Deku grabs his hair and slams his head straight down onto his knee. Katsuki slowly stands up, his body slightly shaking before Deku runs right up to him and texts him straight in between the likes. All the boys in stadium can hear a dong going off. Katsuki stumbles back slightly before Deku throws another kick between the legs. Katsuki falls forward, face planting the floor before Deku walks right behind him and continues to kick him in the nuts. Thank you takes a step back to sort out his t-shirt as Katsuki slowly stands up, his body shaking. Deku texts him one more time in between legs before Katsuki hits the ground holding his nuts while foaming at the mouth. For medical robots come and take Katsuki away. Deku sorts out his t-shirts before Midnight speaks up. Midnight. Well, that was an unexpected finish. The winner of the fight is Isuka Benjamin Tennyson. Random hero. Shouldn't be doing that, especially in a fight. It's not hero-like. Aizawa. Whoever said that if you're hero, pack up your cape? Deku. I got this, Aizawa. Aizawa. Go ahead, problem child. Deku. One thing you heroes need to forget in a fight: villains go for the killing blow while you train restrain. You expect them to follow fighting styles and use martial arts that easy to counter, but yet there's one fighting style that always works against anyone. The fighting style is called street fight rules, aka do anything to win, low blows and pulling hair using items as a weapon. Anything goes in a fight. I use that to my advantage. Anything can go in a fight. They try and kill me, so I hit them with absolutely anything to win, or I beat them to it. I'm an ex-vigilante, meaning I don't care about the rules. I'm only here because I'm old enough to get a license. If I wanted, I could go back on the streets today and continue what I've been doing for years. You a lot waited for a license to tell you you're a hero. I did my own thing. So if you want to criticize me for doing that, I will face you right here, right now. Your fighting styles versus my one. We'll see who wins. And for the record, any of you who think life is fair just because you got a strong ability, just remember, in a fight, the only rule is to win by any means. Nizu. Well, Izuka Tennyson, that isn't how I would have touched your situation, but I can't exactly complain. If you decide to go back to vigilantism with your crew, you have UAE's complete support, and you have my expertise to get you out of any legal repercussions. Decorations is fun. Before walking back to the one booth on his way, he is stopped by All Might and Inko. Deku, what the hell do you want? All Might, I want you back in a house with your family. Deku, I have a family, and they won't throw me out the moment I was diagnosed with no ability. And only want you back because they know I'm powerful. Inko, I want to see my granddaughter. Deku, I suggest you stay as far away from my family as possible because her aunt and uncle are more ruthless than me. All Might, on the #1 hero, I can get you arrested with valid course and have that daughter of yours placed under our care. Deku presses down on the Shaketrix call as a female beast riot appears, her massive frame towering over a buffer. All Might. Deku, Lucy, meet the idiots. All Might is about to stand his ground before his arm gets nipped by the middle tail on Lucy's back. His body immediately seizes up as his body buffs down. Deku, the middle tail has a highly potent paralyzing Venom 1 strike, could even paralyze way big for 1 hour. So think about it, could do to some Dell like you. I say you have around 25 hours of being completely immobile. The other 2 tails have venoms that could kill. So this is how it's going to go. You stay away from my family. On next time, I'll show you the true meaning of Ben 10. Deku heads towards the booth. Lucy following him. Deku opens the door as Lucy walks in and lies on the left side next to the class 1B walls. Deku. So I took longer than expected. Deku walks to the bottom row and lies down with his head on Jiro's lap. Marinette. All right, who do I have to go kill? Deku. Don't bother, you'll be paralyzed for the next 25 hours. Issei. So who is it, and don't lie to us, we know when you're lying. Deku. All Might attempted to threaten me with taking away Jenny and putting them under their care, so I retaliated by paralyzing him for the next 25 hours. Marinette. Issei, you better stop me before going kill that man for threatening my goddaughter. Deku. Marinette, don't even think about getting involved. I am not having you the put away because you were stupid and that you get involved. Issei. Okay, what the hell happened to you? You're getting way too soft. Deku lifts up his head and looks between them before hearing a slight, disappointed groan from Jiro. Marinette. Remember when Zomboso used kryptonite in a fear gas so he could drain my life force away so he can heal himself? You killed him so bad he came back as an undead. Issei. And that time Hex shut a spell at me and you thought it killed me. So you cave his skull in, and he has to flee with his last remaining breaths before coming back weaker and barely alive with his body being slowly regenerated. Charmcaster. And don't forget those times you killed villains, it's like becoming a father made you softer. Jenny. If you want me in Venom, can go and sort him out. Deku. Listen, I don't want anything to happen to any of you, okay? The reason why I'm not as violent as I used to be. Marinette. Izuka, when was the last time you got some sleep? Deku. Issei. Dude, just go to sleep. You have plenty of time before the next round, and we can't have you passing out mid-fight. No wonder you've been more calm lately. Deku. Listen, I don't need sleep. I'm perfectly. Jiro places Deki's head on her last while stroking his hair. Dek, who tries to fight it before falling asleep on her lap. Deku is sat inside of a black void. He looks around confused. That's why he looks down at his body to see a black smoke making at this with the Omnitrix on his arm. Still visible, the void seems to spin as Deku comes face to face with 7 people sitting on thrones. Deku. What is this place? Why can't I move? Deku watches as they all look at him, completely surprised. That's when the only woman in the void speaks up. That's when Deku remembers that she is All Might mentor Nana. Nana, you ain't the 9th wielder. Actually, I'm the one who brought him here. He was close enough I could link his mental state with One for All, and since he shares vital fluid with the 9th user, it was easier. Everybody looks towards the man with messy orange hair who is leaning against the wall. Second. You can just call me the second. But it's about 1 foot all. I don't want her to have it out of everybody. Your successor could have picked Nana. I'm getting off topic anyway. I want you to have One for All. We can somewhat control who takes it, but you will have to consume some of her vital fluid or some of her DNA. Fourth. You could just call me Fourth. One for All is killing the 9th. It's barely noticeable, but her body is quickly internally aging really fast. The more she takes damage from it, the faster her body deteriorates. At this rate, by time she exits UA, her organs will start to fail from old age. Deku. Why should I care about what happens to her? Nana. We've seen what she's done to you, and we know you have no reason to help her. In fact, you just be helping yourself by doing nothing. Deku. Get to the point. Banjo. Well, unlike the rest of these stuck-ups call me Banjo, I'm the 5th. We know you don't need One for All, but we don't want to be stuck with the 2 of them in here. So we're kind of severing our connection with the 8th since he passed One for All on, but we need you to remove One for All from the 9th. So we can sever the connection. She will still have it for a while, but not as strong as it used to be. Deku, I'm not interested. First, I'm the 1st, and if you do this, you might be able to get feedback returned. Deku, I'm sorry, what? Nana. Since One for All is an energy-based quirk, One for All might jumpstart the Omnitrix and hit you with feedback. But that's all we can speak for now. Do with this information as you see fit. Our office still stands. Deku weaks up his head, slightly hurting the memory of what happened about One for All still fresh in his mind. Deku, whose ass do I have to kick? Issei, that will be yours truly. Deku slowly sits up his body, feeling more refreshed and his mind clearer. Deku and Issei run and jump over the railing before running through the stands and jumping overall at the bottom landing in the arena. They both walk up their respected sides before stretching before midnight could even announce anything. They both rush at each other. Deck, you throwing punches with Issei dodging and landing kits back. They can continue to do that for the next 5 minutes before Issei leaps towards the edge and hold both of his hands in the air. Issei, I cast 50 caliber magic missile. Deku dodges the magic missile before looking toward him up with an insane look on his face. Deku reaches into his pocket and pulls out a cocktail Molotov. Deku, you want to play with magic? Let's play with magic. I cast Laker Fire Yet. Deku froze the lit cocktail motor top towards Issei. He barely manages to dodge before the glass hits the ground, causing a giant puddle of fire. Issei raises both of his hands before firing another fireball. Deku, well, I can't cast one spell. Let's just hope you have enough defense to block it. Deku reaches into his pocket and pulls out a pink crystal, the same one he gave to Jenny. Issei, what spell can you cast with that? Deku, I cast Here Comes the Sun. Everybody watches as giant magic circles appear above the stadium as a beam of light slowly descends down as a nuclear explosion goes off, but with a magic barrier defending them made by Charmcaster after the explosion, everything stops as Deku is stood there as Diamond Head with the crystal still in his hand. As Issei is planted inside of one of the walls of the stadium, Deku walks up to him before ripping him out of the wall. His unconscious body then being picked up by robots, Deku creates a stream of diamonds in front of him to somewhat fly up to the Class 1 booth. He transforms back to normal as he sits down. Diamond has body been completely crushed but slowly repound itself before Deku transforms back to normal with not even a scratch on him. Deku hands Jenny Bako crystal. She gives Deku a nod before sitting on Charmcaster's lap. Charmcaster, so where did you two learn those kind of spells? Deku, I'm not sure where he got 50 caliber magic missile from, but I got Here Comes the Sun from America Wizard. By the way, where's Momo? Jiro. She lost her fight and is currently inside of the 1A waiting room. Deku stands up and walks to the waiting room. He hears sobbing on the other end before he opens it to see Momo hunger the phone in a rage, but is also crying. Deku sit next to Momo, leaning her head onto his shoulder. Deku, I heard about your fight. I'm sorry you lost. Momo, my parents want me to quit on trying to be a hero and just continue with running the business of support equipment and military equipment. Deku, you're giving yourself limits. I hate to say this, but you're weakening yourself by doing so. Momo, what do you mean by limits? I try everything. Deku, your quirk is creation. It allows you to create anything non-living, but it use your lip itself as feel now. The only downside about that is your imagination and how much you eat now. You spend a bunch of fuel creating a bunch of small objects like a flashbangs and shields, post office, and all that stuff when it would take less than 10% of all of that to just make a gun with ammo. Momo, but isn't that illegal? I mean, guns are illegal here, and unlike America, where the gun rose is lush strict. Deku, actually, I could help you get a gun license. I know some friends in the industry that could sell you some weapons licenses, so you can create your own guns without any leave call repercussions. And as long as you, keep it non-lethal areas, you could get away with it since guns are, so far the best form of offense and defense. Momo, can we do it together? Deku's head snaps to water, his expression filled with surprise and confusion. Deku, what? Momo, it might sound out of the blue, but my mom says a cat quirk, and well known again, I get these urges, and lately if he's been coming off the charts when I'm around you, especially one way inside of a room alone together. It's taking all my restraint to not just pounce on you. The air in the Class 1A locker room was still thick with the ghosts of exertion, smelling of antiseptic floor cleaner, boyish sweat, and the faint, lingering ozone of quirk usage. The distant, muffled roar of the stadium crowd was a world away, a dull thrum against the reinforced walls. Deku sat on a wooden bench with a soft sigh. Momo sat beside him. She was creating a small, chilled bottle of water from her palm, the intricate molecular process a quiet marvel. Deku, I'm sorry, but I can't have it with you. I have 3 girlfriends, and one of them wants me to get them preg. She chided gently, her dark eyes full of concern. He accepted the water with a grateful smile. A soft, almost imperceptible purr rumbled in Momo's chest. She leaned into his side, nuzzling her cheek against his shoulder. Momo, I understand. It was in this close quiet that the air in the center of the room fractured. A pool of dark, liquid shadow spilled from nothingness, and from it rose Raven, her cloak dissolving into tendrils of black energy that receded into her body. Her usual stoic expression softened as her lilac eyes found Deku. Raven, hello, Izu. she stated flatly, though a tiny smile touched her lips. Raven, it took longer than expected to finish my patrol. Deku, Raven. Deku's face lit up, his tiredness momentarily forgotten. He opened his arm, an invitation she accepted, gliding over to settle on his other side. She fit against him perfectly, her cool presence a contrast to Momo's warmth. Momo's purr intensified, a possessive yet welcoming sound. The dynamic between them was easy, established, and cherished. Raven reached across Deku, her fingers gently brushing a strand of hair from Momo's face. Raven, you look pleased with yourself, she observed. Momo, the hunt was successful, Momo replied, her cat-like eyes slitting with pleasure. Momo, and now my pride is all together. The air shifted. What was a moment of post-battle comfort began to simmer into something else. Deku felt it first, the change in the energy around them. Raven's empathic abilities, usually a tightly controlled well, were allowing a gentle wave of their shared affection and desire to wash over them, amplifying everything. He turned his head, catching Raven's lips in a slow, deep embrace. It was not frantic, but profoundly close. Her taste was of dark tea and ancient power, a flavor that never failed to make his head spin. Her hands came up to frame his face, her thumbs stroking his freckled cheeks. As they parted, Momo was there, her lips finding the sensitive skin of Deku's neck. She didn't just embrace it, she laved it with her tongue, then grazed her teeth so lightly it was a whisper of sensation, making him shudder. Her purr was a direct vibration against his pulse point. Momo, Raven. Momo breathed, not breaking her contact with Deku's neck. Momo, the door. Without a word, Raven extended a hand. A shimmer of black energy shot out and sealed the main locker room door with a resonant thud that spoke of unbreakable magic. Raven/Momo, we won't be disturbed. They murmured, her voice now husky. Encouraged, Deku turned his attention to Momo, capturing her lips with his. Where Raven's embrace was deep and mystical, Momo's was lush and generous. She melted against him, her hands sliding down his chest, over the hard panels of his costume. A soft, needy mule escaped her throat, the most overtly feline sound yet. Raven watched, her own desire a cool flame. She leaned in, her lips tracing the shell of Momo's ear, then down the column of her throat. Momo arched into the dual attention, her body becoming pliant between her two lovers. Deku, let's get this off. Deku whispered, his fingers finding the hidden clasps of Momo's hero costume. With practiced ease, he helped her out of the top half, revealing the smooth, flawless skin of her back and shoulders. Raven's hands were there to meet the exposed skin, her touch cool and eliciting a gasp from Momo. They shifted a slow, deliberate dance of limbs and whispered encouragements until they were a tangle on the soft mat of the training area, away from the hard benches. Clothes and costumes were shed not in a frenzy, but with a reverent slowness that worshipped every new inch of skin revealed. Deku found himself lying back, Raven straddling his hips, her slender, pale form a stark, beautiful contrast to his own toned and scarred body. She leaned down, her long, dark hair curtaining their faces as she kissed him, her tongue delving deep. Meanwhile, Momo curled beside them, her mouth and hands exploring Deku's chest and abdomen, her purrs a constant, thrilling soundtrack. Her touches were occasionally punctuated by the soft, rough brush of her tongue, a kittenish gesture that sent jolts of electricity straight through him. This was a three-way conversation without words. Raven, the empath, felt their pleasure and reflected it back, magnified. Momo, with her newfound instincts, was all about tactile sensation, marking them with her scent and touch, ensuring her pride was content and sated. And Deku, the heart of their strange, wonderful triad, gave himself over to them completely, his hands roaming over Raven's back, tangling in Momo's hair, his whispers a litany of their names. When Raven finally guided him inside her, it was with a shared, shuddering sigh. Her eyes, locked with his, glowed faintly with her power. The connection was more than physical. It was a wave of pure, emotional resonance that washed over all three of them. Momo felt it like a shock of heat, her back arching as she pressed herself against Deku's side, her own hand moving between her legs, mirroring their rhythm. The locker room faded away. There was no stadium, no UA, no past battles or future threats. There was only this, the slick heat of their joined bodies, the symphony of ragged breaths, Momo's persistent purr, and the building, psychic pressure of Raven's power, containing their pleasure, making it a perfect, private universe. Deku's control, honed in countless fights, began to fray under the dual assault of physical sensation and empathic feedback. He could feel Raven's peak approaching, a gathering storm at the edge of his consciousness, and he could see Momo's beginning to crest, her body tensing, her cries becoming sharp, breathy meows. Raven, together. Raven gasped, her voice strained with effort and joy. Raven, now Izuku. As Raven's words hung in the air, Deku's grip on control finally snapped. He pushed up into her with a primal grunt, his body moving in a rhythm as old as time. Raven matched him, her hips rolling and grinding, her inner muscles clamping down on him with each downstroke. The sensation was electric, a lightning storm of pleasure that crackled along every nerve. Raven's power pulsed around them, a tangible force that wrapped them in a cocoon of shared joy. Momo, not to be left out, positioned herself behind Raven, her hands roaming over Raven's back and shoulders, her purrs a soothing, encouraging hum. She leaned in, her lips brushing the curve of Raven's ear, her breath a warm, tempting caress. Momo, let us feel you, Raven. Raven's response was a low, guttural voice, her body shuddering as Momo's words seemed to ignite something deep within her. She leaned back slightly, her hands gripping Deku's shoulders, her movements becoming more urgent, more desperate. Deku could feel the change, the shift in her rhythm, and he met it with equal fervor, his own peak building like a tidal wave. The locker room filled with the sounds of their passion, the slick, wet sounds of their bodies joining, the ragged gasps and voices, Momo's persistent purrs, and the occasional sharp cry from Raven or Momo as they chased their pleasure. The air was thick with the scent and sweat, a heady, intoxicating aroma that only served to heighten their passion. Deku could feel Raven's power building, a pressure that seemed to fill the room, a force that threatened to consume them all. It was a strange, almost alien sensation, like being caught in the eye of a storm, the calm before the chaos. He could feel it in his bones, a vibration that resonated with every fiber of his being, an echo of Raven's own pleasure. Raven's eyes fluttered open, her lilac irises glowing with an otherworldly light. She looked at Deku, her gaze intense, almost fierce, and he knew she was seeing into the depths of his soul. In that moment, they were not just two people joined in passion, but something more, something profound and primal. Raven, Izuku. Her voice was a whisper, a plea, a command. It was everything, and it was nothing, and it was more than he could comprehend. He could only respond with his body, with his touch, with a raw, unbridled passion that surged through him. He rolled them over, Raven beneath him, her legs wrapping around his waist, pulling him deeper. Momo shifted, her hands moving to Deku's back, her nails digging into his skin, marking him as her own. The sensation was exquisite, a sharp contrast to the soft, wet heat of Raven's body. Deku's movements became more frantic, more desperate. He could feel the edge of his control, the precipice of his release, and he knew Raven and Momo were with him, their bodies tense, their breaths coming in short, sharp gasps. He reached down, his fingers finding Momo's PP, rubbing in tight, swift circles. Her response was immediate, a sharp cry, her body arching against his. Raven, Deku. Momo. Raven's voice was a strangled cry, her body convulsing beneath him. Deku could feel her peak, a wave of pure, unadulterated joy that washed over him, pulling him under. He pushed into her one last time, his body tensing, his release exploding from him in a rush of heat and light. Momo's cry was a sharp, breathy meow, her body shaking, her purrs becoming a frantic, desperate sound. Deku could feel her peak, a ripple of sensation that seemed to echo through all three of them, a final, shared wave of pleasure. In the aftermath, they lay entangled, their bodies slick with sweat, their breaths slowly returning to normal. Raven's power receded, leaving them in a warm, contented haze. Momo's purrs softened, becoming a soothing, rhythmic sound that seemed to lull them all into a state of deep, sated relaxation. Deku stroked Raven's hair, his fingers gentle, his touch reverent. She looked up at him, her eyes soft, her smile warm. Momo curled against his side, her head resting on his chest, her purrs a constant, comforting presence. Raven, thank you. Aizu. Her voice was a soft whisper, a secret shared between lovers. Deku could only smile, his heart full, his body sated, his soul at peace. The locker room was quiet, the only sounds the soft purrs of Momo and the occasional rustle of fabric as they shifted, adjusting to the cool air. The world outside seemed distant, unimportant. There was only this moment, this perfect, private universe of shared pleasure and deep, abiding love. And for now, that was enough. As Deku and Momo lay entwined, basking in the afterglow of their shared passion. Deku, that was intense. Deku gives them both a quick kiss on the head before putting back on his P uniform. Before walking out of there, Deku walks back to the Class 1A booth before sitting in between Jiro and Charmcaster. Charmcaster, so how does it go? Deku, good. Charmcaster leans into Deku's ear. Charmcaster, do you know what I meant was there? Deku, no questions. So who am I going up against? Jiro, Yagi. Deku, great. Aizawa. Tennis and Yagi, make your way to the arena. Deku and Izumi head out of the booth and towards the arena. Deku turns a corner and comes face to face with Inko. Deku, leave me alone. Inko, Izuku, Yagi. Stop playing this game and return home. Deku, it's Izuku, Benjamin Tennyson. And I've had enough of you and your family, so leave me alone before I show you what I can do when I'm not holding back. Deku pushes her out of the way and then takes a few steps past her before Inko speaks. Inko, this is why you didn't get one for all. Deku, I don't need a quirk. I have over 1,904 different aliens that are more powerful than any quirk. I have only used around 80-90 if we consider the forbidden playlist. So next time you want to threaten me, make sure you can back it up. Inko, I want to see my granddaughter. Deku, she knows everything about you. If she wants to speak to you, she will. I don't control her. Deku continues walking to the arena. As soon as he climbs up the stairs, he comes face to face with Izumi. Midnight, begin. Immediately, purple lines form across Izumi's body as green electricity starts sparking off her. In a blink of an eye, she appears right in front of Deku with one of her fists pulled back before Izumi could throw the punch. She spits out some saliva as she looks down to see Deku with his right hand planted in her stomach. Deku, who pulls his fist out of her stomach before kicking her back across the arena. Right next to the edge, Deku slowly walks toward water while shaking his head, and Izumi in a fit of anger punches the ground, sending a huge shockwave of debris towards Aku. Deku shakes his head as the debris misses him. Izumi stands up with both her hands raised as she uses her telekinesis to lift up all the debris and starts firing it towards Deku, with Deku sidestepping it all. Deku, I know you can fire it faster than that. Izumi gets so angry that she forms all of the debris into a giant spike and launches it straight towards Deku. Deku shakes his head before slamming down on the Omnitrix. A bright green flash of light envelopes Deku as Forearm stands there and catches it with all four arms before crushing it. Izumi rushes at Deku again before punching him full force. Deku, you easily catch in her hand before slamming Izumi straight into the ground. Thank you. Then froze her straight up in the air, jumps and interlocks both of his top arms before slamming them straight down on her back, sending her slamming straight into the concrete. Deku lands before pressing down on the Omnitrix, turning back to normal. Deku shakes his head as Izumi, in a last-ditch effort, uses her telekinesis to float before wheeling her fist back and throwing a 100% punch straight at Deku's face. A bright green flash involves Deku, as Diamond Head stands there with his face being slightly cracked from the punches. Izumi's eyes widen before Diamond Head encase her body in diamonds, except for her head. Midnight. The winner is Izuku Benjamin Tennyson. Deku is about to walk off of the stadium, but he speaks his voice calm and is filled with edge. Deku, I didn't come to UA for a license. I came because I could. I've been doing this since I was 4. While you were doing schoolwork and training your quirk, I was out fighting villains and saving people. You wait for a license. To me, that's just a formality. Today I was handicapped by only using my first 10 aliens. Next time we fight, I won't have that handicap. You chase the #1 spot in heroics. I don't care about titles or rankings. I do what's right because it's right. You try to do things I've already done. I save people without expecting anything in return. I've saved the world countless times. Where were you? Keep reaching for somebody else's spot. Whatever you thought you were doing bullying me, trying to feel powerful meant nothing. You were never a threat, and if you try again, you'll see just how far out of your depth you really are. Deku then walks off the arena before looking towards the commentary booth before shouting, Deku, I'm not participating in the sports festival anymore. Aizawa, may I know the reason? Deku, I've got better things to do. Aizawa, Izuku Benjamin Tennyson is no longer participating in the sports festival by his own request. Deku walks to Recovery Girl's office with Recovery Girl standing outside of the door with her arms crossed. Deku and Raven. Recovery Girl is alright except for a few outfits of pain and some swelling from doing it wrong. Deku, is it alright to check on them? Recovery Girl gives a simple note before that you enters the infirmary. When he does, he sees Momo and Raven sat next to each other on 2 different beds. They both notice that you before giving him a quick nod. Momo, so does this mean I'm going to have to drop out of UA? Raven, and I'm going to have to stop going on patrol for a while. Deku, well, I could use clockwork to speed up the process, so the only thing you will have to do is give birth and then go through the few weeks of the pain after it. Recovery Girl, usually I would advise against using a time-based quirk in that kind of situation, but I've seen what that alien can do in the form of rewinding the injuries. The real question is how showing you this will work without any side effects. Deku, I'm 90% positive that it will work. The remaining 10% is I'm not sure what kind of mental damage it will do, but I know it isn't lethal. Recovery Girl, is that a more safer way? Charmcaster, yet I'll bring them to my reality with time flows a little bit different, but in that, and it does out here, tends to the door to see Charmcaster slightly leaning against the door frame. Recovery Girl, is there anything I should know about this place? Charmcaster, apart from you don't age in that, but apart from that, everything else in there flows faster. It's kind of why Jenny is as old as she is. Deku, it's up to you too. Momo, I would like to do with that. Raven, yes, same here. Charmcaster teleports Raven, Momo, and Recovery Girl to her reality with Deku just walking out of the room with both hands in his pockets while heading towards the 1A booth. Deku and most of Class 1 are sat in homeroom a few days after the sports festival. Momo walks in slightly tired, but looking alright as one could be. She goes to a seat and sits down, her body still slightly aching. Aizawa, now that you are all here, we can begin for the next week. All you will have to intern under a pro hero in Japan, and I'm mainly talking about you 3. But like I was saying, you'll have to intern under a Japanese hero for the next week, and they will teach you about doing stuff properly in the hero department. So you will have to pick a hero that has said you would offer, or there will be some other companies that would send heroes internships for like support equipment and other stuff. So make sure you choose properly. And after lunch, we will be doing hero names, so have that sort of as well. But I won't be sorting it for you. Aizawa grabs his back before going to the corner, zipping it up and falling asleep. Whatever the whiteboard turns on with everybody's names and a bunch of numbers next to it, everybody's confused, but when they see Deku's, the eyes slightly widen. Jiro, 5,392 agencies want you to intern under them. Deku, it would probably have been higher if it wasn't limited to just Japan. Deku Ghetto, and walk to the front of the class. Deku, okay, these are all the people I need your hop to concentrate on trying to find, or doing your internship, and I'm people who work well for your situations. Marinate your powerhouse, so try go over for somebody who's a bit more violent and that has a decent enough fighting style. Issei, expand your weapon mastery, since you got that new sword. Bakugo, I hate to say this, but your angry issues are way too aggressive, especially for civilians, and I turn into wrath to mainly handle with civilians. I don't like them that much while do my hero business. So try and turn it down and go facility. You concentrates on control and precision instead of just AoE attacks. Shoto, concentrate on using your fire more, but don't go with endeavor. Try going for somebody who is more in tune with the elements, so they can give you pointers. Momo, go for somebody who thinks outside of the box like Midnight, who fights Dirty Yagi like I showed in our fight your way to quirk reliant. If I go somebody who's immune to telekinesis, or who can negate it, you're screwed. Your arc is same issue your way to quirk reliant EES with martial arts training Ida. Your way to uptight. So try and find somebody who thinks outside of the box, and you can loosen you up because that stiffness could get you killed if a golden aquatic-based hero, but mainly. Concentrate on fighting outside of the water, even though your quirk relies on water. Make sure you can alternate between land and sea without any issues. Kirishima Goat Samity, who has a similar base quirk to you, mainly happening or defense, but try and serve hardening an entire section like your entire arm, or you entire leg. Try hardening little bits like just the tips of your fingers for like claws, and that for mobility. And Climate Kaminari, I'm just going to say it, I figured out your problem a little while ago with the whole electricity, and you're going stupid. Your outfits are contained with rubber since you're an electric-based quirk user, but that's also making access lightning be reabsorbed, making you go in your stupid state. So alter your outfit to make sure there is no rubber, or make sure also has a kind of conductor base system inside of it, like, I don't know, copper wiring in some of the threads, so it acts like a lightning rod that can shoot out, but apart from that you have the same issue, 2 quarter irons, so go for some D with a weapon Jiro, sorry. But you weigh too quickly and you have nothing in the way of combat, so go with a combat-based hero and make sure you're not afraid to fight Dirty Tokoyami. Same issue to quirk-reliant triangle for some D who isn't too based on quirks. So you can up your actual combat Hagakure go for some D who fights Dirty Sanctuary. Visible fighting with no rules is kind of going to play into your strong suit Sato. Just go with a support-based hero, and try swapping your sugar packets for, I don't know, maybe small jars of honey that you can just pop during a fight since you're consuming raw sugar, which is making you more tired faster. Shoji, go with support-based heroes and mainly crowd control. You need to get used to being around so many people. Mineta, you need to stop being a pervert before I actually have to kick you. But interest me, I wouldn't mind doing it as way big. Casey Trish, same issue, you kind of I weigh too much on your abilities, so go for a hint in combat, and make sure to learn in both human and transformation formed. You would thank me all later. Every Litton's intensely well as Deku was speaking, making sure to know every word. That's when everybody walks up to the front and picks up its tablet within seat number on it, and start going through their list. At the end of the day, all of Class 1, after picking the hero names, pack up and head to their places. Deku walks in his house, followed by Momo, and Jiro Charmcaster is sat on the couch reading a book quietly. Charmcaster, I just put Max and Gwen too bad. Jenny, I'm going to go out and stop some crimes. Deku, well, I'm not going to have much time for you after your siblings grop slightly, so we'll do some favors-daughter bonding time in the form of kicking, but Momo, just be home for dinner, and please note, take out earn each solid foods that will end up with me vomiting my guts out. Charmcaster, the 3 of us can sole out food for everybody while those 2 go and do their hero business. Deku, just don't forget our assignment. You need to sort out even with by tomorrow. Deku and Jenny head to the balcony, decorating into black tentacle foam into giant bat wings with red wedding and black and white phones. They both fly off into the city before landing on a roof. Deku, so you're not going to ask. Jenny, thank you, young, to know that stuff, and I was going to ask, when am I going to become a big Simplian anyway? Deku, well, I want to see what you're capable of. Here's your first target. He gestures to a mugging happening inside of an alleyway outside of the public. View shows some heroes walk past the highway, not even batting an eye. Jenny, sure, this seems easy enough without using my magic or pyrolite DNA. Venom encases her body, making a stand at just over Dacus heights. but the body is slim and feminine, but looking also very muscular. Black tentacles shoot out of us back and climb her across the wall silently before the mother could do anything to the woman. A black tentacle in the shape of a spearhead stopped right through his arm as a black tentacle wrapped around his mouth. The guy starts to scream as his hand gets pulled away from her as his body gets stabbed multiple times before he looks up to where the slime is coming from and sees Venom with his mouth open before he could scream or do anything. His head gets bit off as the rest of his body gets consumed. Venom likes his lips before Jenny, only having a bit of black slime covering the bottom of your own love lines right in front of the woman, and helps her out. Jenny, are you okay, miss? Random lady. Yeah, thanks to you, I'm not going to ask about that since by the looks of it, that was your quirk, maybe, but please make sure you turn down the graphics, because if that was a kid in my position, you would have traumatized them. Jenny, okay. The lady gets up, sorting herself out before walking off. Black tentacles shoot up to the roof and pull Jenny straight up next to Deku. Jenny, so how was it? Deku, well, you could have made it less violent for the guy by just wrapping his body up in the slime. Oh well, and then Venom ranks him up and then consumes him, then you hand, and then just say something online as sorry, my quirk has a split personality, which was, well, that creature that at him. Venom. That's what I told her, but she kept insisting on doing it that way. Deku. Now before we go anyway, you need a costume. I love having another reason for him to take you. Venom. Well, what about if I do something like this? Black slime enveloped her and then disappears, revealing. Hashtag, detailed description. Overall appearance. The character is female, standing confidently in a three-quarter pose, facing slightly to the left. The suit is form-fitting, emphasizing an athletic and curvaceous build. Color scheme. Predominantly black with white accents on the legs, arms, torso, and inner hood. Pink/purple highlights appear on the hood, scarf-like collar, jagged shoulder and ankle details, and a long tail like appendage. Head/face, fully masked with a hood pulled up. The mask has large, glowing white eyes with pinkish-purple outlines and sharp, fang-like extensions at the corners. A black symbiote creature with white eyes and red tongue is perched on the left shoulder, partially emerging from the hood. Upper body, black bodysuit with white spiderweb-like patterns on the chest and arms. A high, wrapped pink scarf/collar around the neck. Jagged pink edges on the shoulders. White gloves with black fingertips. Right hand clenched in a fist, left hand relaxed. Lower body. White legs/thighs, transitioning to black lower legs and feet in high-heeled boots. Jagged pink cuffs at the ankles. Tail/appendage. A long, whip-like tail extends from the lower back. Black at the base fading to white and ending in a sharp pink tip with jagged edges. Background. Solid black, making the character stand out dramatically. Style. Clean, vector-like cartoon art with bold lines and flat colors, giving a comic book or animated series vibe. Deku. Perfect. Now, let me just transform, and we will head to next crime. Deku transforms into Stinkfly, except his body is now pitch black with green veins pulsing through his body. His eyes are longer and connected by slime, and his tail is the same size as his body, but with teeth-like protrusion from the back of it, with his wings being clear, but with black slime making up the frame. Jenny/Venom. What's that? Deku. Well, his Stinkfly, but symbiote enhanced. It was probably when I scanned you DNA, and its containment fields probably was slightly damaged, so now and again it will leak into my other transformation, making them symbol enhanced. That's when police sirens and lights fly past the road, chasing an army truck with a bunch of heroes that walked past the alleyway, before on its tail Deku laps his wings and flies straight toward the truck, Jenny swinging behind him like Spider-Man, keeping up but also staying behind. Stinkfly. You keep the civilians out the way, I'll take care of the truck. Venom/Jenny. Got it. Deku flies faster, landing on top of the truck, his tail ripping through it easily. They all look at him, all 10 films crammed inside of it, panic, before one of them grabs their machine gun and starts firing the bullets, not even affecting him. Deku climb and bending the roof back into place as slime shoots out of the bottom of the truck, hitting all the wheels, making it slow down before holding. That's when all the police pull up and prepare to arrest the mall, with the heroes getting ready for the Camera's Detective Sakachi walks up to the doors and opens it to see out of the 10 villains, only 5 are left alive, and panicking Deku hops out and then transforms back to normal or coming face to face with Detective Sakachi. Deku, Detective, I think this is our first time meeting face to face, well, human face to human face. Detective Sakachi, I would ask where the other 5 are, but I did see the Gotham report when that slime was on your Wolf Blitzer. Deku, Symbio Enhance I call it, it's only happened twice so far, but apart from making me way more aggressive and, well, very hungry in the sense I will literally anyone, but I do have some morals and will keep some of them alive. Detective Sakachi, okay, at least have a good explanation for this one. What are your aliens have a slight cannibalistic tendency, making you eat humans, compared to, well, how I have to describe a time you use up Chuck. Deku, well, I have things to do and more bad guys to stop, just see around. Detective Tsukachi, before you go, I would have to order you as a police officer to not attempt to go for Stain during your internship, but as a man who's been covering your cases for a few years now, I am asking you, as a somewhat of friend, to please take down Stain. He is a pain in my, but in just for a little of simplicity on my paperwork side, may I know where you'll be interning. Deku, oh, that trash I'm going with Gran Torino. He wanted to talk to me personally, and he attached the note to my intern things. So yeah, I will be also heading to deal with Stain. Detective Tsukachi, well, my office is always open if you ever need some legal stuff doing. Deku nods before transforming into XLR-8 and setting off through the rest of the day. Deku stops a bunch of low-level crimes and helps Jenny with pointers. Eventually, they head home and see the entire family there, including Marinette and Issei, who look like they want to be anywhere else, but still came amped, is left open right at the head of the table with Charmcaster and Raven to the left and right, Marinette and Issei continuing on. The right and Momo and Jiro to the left. Deku and Jenny sit down. The table's being filled with food. Issei reaches out for a chicken drumstick, but immediately gets his hand slapped by Deku. Night settles softly over the Tennyson household. The long table glows beneath strings of warm lights. Plates overflow, the air rich with spice and laughter. At the head sits Izuku Benjamin Tennyson, his green eyes reflecting the faint glow of the Omnitrix on his wrist. Across from him, 4-year-old Jenny swings her legs, a trace of magma orange shimmer beneath her white and purple hair. To Deku's right, Raven and Charmcaster. To his left, Issei, the boosted gear pulsing faint red beside Marinette, who nudges him playfully, then Momo and Jiro down the line. Every hand is linked. Flesh, magic, metal, and a glossy black slime tendril from venom, completing the circle. Deku, smiling. All right, Issei, you reach for the chicken first. You know my rule. Issei, macaron. Seriously? I thought that was a sports festival rule, not a house rule. Deku, rule's the same. You grab before grace, you lead it. Laughter ripples around the table. Venom's head forms from Jenny's shoulder, blinking huge white eyes. Venom, then hurry. The meat is getting cold, and so are we. Charmcaster, hear that? Even the alien slime's impatient. Come on, Dragon Boy, make it count. Issei breathes out, glances around at the mix of heroes, mages, and misfits. The boosted gear hums. Lilith's faint voice flickers within the crimson light. Lilith from a gear. Go on, Issei. Speak from your heart. He nods once, then begins. Issei's prayer. Issei, most of us aren't related by blood. 90% of this table proves it. But family isn't the name you're born with, it's the people who refuse to let you fall. We've all carried scars. Deku, you built a miracle from scraps because no one believed you could. You turned pain into progress and a watch into hope. Charmcaster, you fought your darkness and still found room for light. Raven, you guard all of us even when the shadows whisper back. Momo, you make order out of chaos. Jiro, pretend all you want. You're the rhythm that keeps us together. Marinette, you're the sister who yells first, forgives faster, and fixes everything with a string and a smile. And Jenny, our proof that something good can come from worlds colliding. We've all lost something: parents, homes, faith. But sitting here, I see what we built instead. He glances down the table. The Omnitrix glints, reflecting everyone's faces. Issei, money will come and go. Power too. We all know that. But the most important thing in life will always be the people in this room. Right here, right now. One of us is an ancient dragon. One of us is a literal alien slime ball. And somehow, we're still family. So tonight, I thank everything holy, demonic, and completely insane for the family I have in this room. My brother who wouldn't quit, my pain in the neck sister, my niece, and my brother's girlfriends who somehow tolerate him. Salute, mi familia. He raises his glass. The crimson glow of the boosted gear mingles with the Omnitrix's green light and Venom's slick sheen until it feels like one heartbeat around the table. All. Salute. Glasses clink. For a moment, only the sound of Jenny's giggle and the crackle of warm food fill the room. Raven, dryly. Finally, I thought the prayer was going to turn into a sermon. Charmcaster, you say that every time, and you still cry halfway through. Raven, those were empathy reflexes. Jiro, smirking. Sure they were. Eat up, empathy reflexes. Everyone laughs. The tension dissolves. Plates begin to move. Deku, that was good, Issei. You made Dom Toretto proud. Marinette, teasing mouth full. Wait, so you did steal the whole prey before eating thing from Fast and Furious? Deku, hey, traditions have to start somewhere. Jenny giggles as Venom scoops mashed potatoes with a slime spoon. The boosted gear dims to a gentle pulse, while Lilith hums approval inside Issei's arm. For a heartbeat, the strange little family simply eats heroes, mages, monsters, and one determined inventor bound by choice, not blood. Glasses clink. Laughter lingers like the aftertaste of sweet wine. Everyone finally releases each other's hands and attacks the spread in front of them. Jiro, finally. I thought we were going to starve while Issei found his inner poet. Issei, hey, our takes time. Besides, you were humming dramatic background music halfway through. Jiro, that was to keep me awake. Momo, be nice. It was a lovely speech. Thought I'd think you were about to announce a street race at the end. Marinette, grinning right? All right, everyone, next person who finishes their plate gets the keys to the Supra. Deku, laughing, you know what? Maybe that's the next team building exercise. Only with hoverboards. Charmcaster, if we're racing, I'm summoning my chariot. Magic's legal, right? Raven, deadpan only if you promise not to accidentally open another portal. Charmcaster, one time. One tiny dimension tear. Jenny, Venom says that was fun. Venom, popping out beside her, the air tasted like ozone and fear. We enjoyed it. The table erupts with laughter. Raven hides a chuckle behind her glass. Issei, see? That's family. Half of us cause disasters. The other half applauds. Deku, as long as the house survives, I call it a win. He lifts a piece of chicken. Marinette nudges his arm playfully. Marinette, you got the whole prey before eating things straight from Fast and Furious, didn't you? Deku, maybe. But admit it, it works. Makes everything taste better. Marinette, it's either that or we've all been hypnotized by your mom voice. Charmcaster, he does have that tone like, eat your veggies or face the Omnitrix. Deku, pretending stern, it's an effective strategy. Jiro, so's music. If you don't pass the rice, I'm breaking into a solo. She strums a quick riff on her earlobe jacks. The sound buzzes across the table. Jenny squeals with delight. Jenny, encore. Encore. Venom. Encore later. Food now. Momo can't stop laughing as she carefully refills everyone's glasses. Momo, I'm just glad we're not training tonight. Last time we ate like this, Deku tried to run drills afterward. Issei, he did. He also vomited halfway through the warm-up. Deku, in my defense, that curry had actual fireballs in it. Charmcaster, you asked for extra kick. Literal kick. Raven, at least it wasn't cursed. Small victories. A pause as everyone chews. The warmth in the room thickens. It's chaos, but happy chaos, plates scraping, Jenny humming, Marinette smirking at Issei like a sister plotting her next prank. Marinette, you know, this table's starting to look like the world's weirdest reunion. Aliens, dragons, magicians. Issei, don't forget the fashion designer who moonlights as a hero. Marinette, touche. Deku, that's the point, though. Different pieces, same team. Venom, and plenty of food. We approve of this arrangement. Jenny, Mouthful me too. Raven, chew first, then talk. Jenny, sorry, Aunt Ray. Everyone grins at the nickname. Raven pretends not to soften, but her eyes give her away. Charmcaster. See, Raven, she called you Aunt Ray. You're officially part of the family cult. Raven, do we get membership cards? Issei nah. Just trauma and inside jokes. Laughter again. Momo nearly spills her drink from giggling. Jiro catches it with a quick sound pulse, the glass steadied by vibration. Momo, thank you. Reflexes of steel. Jiro, nah, just used to chaos. For a few seconds, the only sounds are forks clinking and Venom humming an odd, gurgly tune. Then Issei leans back with a sigh. Issei, okay, this is officially the best meal since we beat that sludge monster in training. Marinette, better than the victory pizza? Issei by miles. That pizza fought back. Charmcaster, it did. I still have burn marks. Everyone bursts out laughing once more. Even Deku can't hold back the tears in his eyes from laughing so hard. Deku, all right. Next time, no sentient pizza. Deal? All deal. They clink their glasses again. Venom mimics the motion with a cup made of black slime, which makes Jenny giggle so hard she hiccups. The room fills with the sound of found family joy, ridiculous, loud, perfectly alive. The dining room has devolved into a comfortable war zone. Napkins crumpled, plates half empty, crumbs doing their best to form a new civilization on the table. Laughter bounces off the walls. The boosted gear hums faintly. The Omnitrix on Deku's wrist flickers. Jenny's hands are sticky with frosting. Venom's little slime head blinks with manic approval. Jenny, licking frosting. Venom says the cake was acceptable. Venom, slime head bobbing. Acceptable. Needs more chocolate. Issei, snickering. From the sentient tar monster who ate an entire roast with the bones? Bold critique. Venom, flavor diversity. Charmcaster, you'll eat anything, won't you? Venom, correct. Marinette flicks a single pea at Issei like a tiny missile. It bounces off his forehead with a comedic plink. The room freezes for a heartbeat, the prelude. Issei, slow grin. Oh, you did not just do that. Marinette, innocent. Do what? Another pea smacks his nose. Issei, all right. War. Issei reaches for mashed potatoes. Deku slams his hand down on the table. Omnitrix glowing. Deku, serious, quiet. Hold up. If we're having a food fight, no powers. Groans circle the table. Deku, locking eyes with Marinette. I mean it. I am not having the same incident, Marinette. Marinette, face pink. That was one time. Issei, laughing. One time where you nearly vaporized my hairline, yeah. That one time. Marinette, to be fair, my necklace was open. I didn't realize I was in full Kryptonian mode. Besides, you got better. Issei, mock clutching his scalp. Barely. Laughter bubbles. Jenny tips her head conspiratorially. Jenny, no powers, right? Venom, fine. No powers. For now. Marinette grins and reaches for a spoonful of mashed potatoes, but Deku raises a single finger, then smiles in a way that makes everyone lean in. Deku, deadpan, loud enough for everyone to hear. If you want to use powers, I can see if I can get Alien X involved, and you'll be getting a people started by God himself, so you still want to use powers. Silence, then stunned confusion, then an eruption of laughter, so loud a few plates rattle. Marinette blinks, lips twitching between offended and amused. Issei, between laughs. Deku, what did you just? Deku, shrugging, trying not to smile. What? Scare tactic. Raven dry. Threatening with existential omnipotence. Classic. Charmcaster, wiping tears from her eyes. That is simultaneously terrifying and the best way to stop someone from using their powers. Jenny, Venom, and half the table are howling. Deku tries to look menacing. Instead, he just looks adorably serious. Marinette, grinning. Okay. No powers. Fine. But if Alien X shows up, I'm high-fiving him for style points. Issei, and if God himself starts staring, I'll ask for a helmet. That line sends everyone into fresh hysterics. Then the violence of laughter is replaced by arms and food and the first launch. Jenny giggles spoon-poised. Fire. Venom, gleeful. Target locked. Mashed potatoes become cannonballs. A gravy catapult flings like a trebuchet. Marinette dives under the table and pops up with a pastry as a frisbee. Jiro flicks chopsticks like throwing stars. Momo tries to shepherd the debris, but gets a face full of rice. Momo, half laughing, half pleading. Stop my dress. Charmcaster, spinning a ladle. You asked for chaos. Raven, I did not consent to being hit with pie. Deku, now fully caught up, laughing as a meatball splats his cheek. No one leaves alive. Lilith's projection over Issei's arm gets a dollop of whipped cream. She huffs like an annoyed storm. Lilith, you risk my wrath with dairy. Issei, laughing uncontrollably. Lilith, no powers. Remember the rule. Lilith, I am denied the joy of combat. Tragic. Everything becomes artful mayhem, spoons used as catapults, napkins as parachutes, Venom forming a tiny slime cannon to launch a perfectly aimed bread roll. Marinette's Kryptonian reflexes kick in for balance and comedic effect only. Her necklace is sealed, so the superstrength stays put, but her agility turns pies into near misses that look like stunts. Jiro, as she reloads with sushi. This is a terrible idea. Momo, yes, the best kinds. Raven smirks and flicks a shadow to gently nudge a rogue roll back toward Issei. He mock salutes and retaliates by sending a spoonful of mashed potato that arcs beautifully toward Deku, who ducks and retaliates with a theatrical gravy spray. Deku, consider yourself sauced. Marinette launches a mini pastry that grazes Lilith's projection. Lilith pretends to be wounded. Lilith, you have chosen humiliation. Issei, worth it. The dining room is a swirl of laughter, shrieks, and squeals. Even the most stoic get into it Raven's corner becomes surprisingly effective fort built of bread rolls. Jenny and Venom coordinate a double team that's equal parts adorable and utterly ruthless. Jenny, take this, Uncle Issei. Venom, for family. Finally, Deku claps his hands loudly above the din. Deku, cease fire. For a second, everything freezes mid-arc rolls hanging in air, then everything collapses into giggles as people drop their ammo and grin at each other, breathless. Issei, still laughing. We are a horrible, wonderful mess. Marinette, the best kind. Raven, family. Jenny claps. Venom gives an approving gurgle. Lilith hums like a soft thunder. Plates are sticky. Hair has stray crumbs. But the room thrums with the kind of love that comes from surviving everything together. Deku, soft, smiling around the table. Yeah, best dinner ever. Laughter carries them into cleanup, no powers. Only soap, rags, and an army of hands. The Omnitrix glows faintly under the warm lights as the little family tidies the chaos they made together. Deku, right time for the cleanup. And yes, we're allowed to use them powers since I'm not doing this without some kind of help. Marinette, any chance you were lying about using Alien X during the food fight? Deku, you can move faster than light. So, yeah, I wasn't lying, I would have used Alien X. Issei, I could have had a P-Lone stop me at Mark Non-Existent and probably survive that trash. Everybody spends the next hour cleaning up Deku, transforming into Big Chill, and freezing it solid after the cleanup. Everybody is chilling around the couch with bruises starting to form on some of them. Momo, if I even attempted that at my parents' house, I would have been sent straight to my room nice out of an unstable family. Jenny, when we're unstable, we just lack common sense in some aspects. Oh, you said it. Issei, so we start for the barbecue this Sunday. Deku, no, if you don't go to church, you know overall. All of Class 1 are spread out through a train station. Aizawa is stood in front of them, all slightly annoyed, but his expression is calmer than usual. Aizawa, well, I'm handing you off to somebody else for a few days, so that will be less of a headache on my end, L. Now stick to your hero, and exactly what they say. I don't want to hear any complaints that you like with disrespectful or anything like that. Class 1A, okay. Marinette, Deku, and Issei stick together and get off the same train and walk to an old building that still looks pretty new. Enter. They see an old man wearing a yellow outfit with a yellow cape, lying face first in a pool of red liquid. Deku, are you Gran Torino? The old man immediately shoots up and dance towards them. Deku, casually taking a step back, making the old man landed his foot straight into the walls. He immediately jumps back to the place he was sought himself out and looks at the three of them. Gran Torino, we've got good reflexes and give you that much, and you didn't panic the fact that I was leaning red liquid. Issei, we've learned don't panic unless you can see the damage on the person, and it's way too light to be vital fluid. Gran Torino, so you three are Team Tennyson. Deku, yeah, we are where you ask. Gran Torino, so do you know about All Might's situation? Marinette, if you're asking do we know about One for All, then yes, and we know about All for One. Oh, Izuku, I'm snatched this for you. Marinette pulls out a piece of green hair that is long, but with a slight hint of blonde in the mix. Gran Torino, so do you want to explain what you know about it? Deku, I've met the previous users, and before Nana died, I did meet her twice, and she did give me some pointers on some of my aliens. And I'm guessing you know about the Omnitrix. Gran Torino, how did you meet the previous wielders? Deku, that's going to be complicated, but I can explain. They all head to the sitting area. Deku, explaining how he met the One for a wielders, and how Izumi is dying slowly the longer. She has One for All. Her body's aging rapidly at this rate, should be dead before she exits UA. That's without meeting All for One. Deku, oh, and one thing I did forget to mention, and they want me to have One for All. They can somewhat control who takes it, and once they do, they will cut the connection to her, so she won't be dying, and she will still have embers of One for All. But the more she uses it, the faster it will go. Gran Torino, so what I've covered, they want you to be the 10th wielder of One for All, or the replacement 9th, whatever you want to call it. Issei, why aren't you accepting it? Remember, did offer to make you the Night Fuser by force if she have to, but then the incident would all for what happened. Marinette, yeah, just think what we could do with the firepower. Deku, my body is perfect for it. It's a physical enhancer, but I think there's more to it, but that I can't say for certain. I could also get feedback back. Marinette and Issei stop and look straight towards Deku. Marinette, Izuku, did you just say you could get feedback returned? Deku, yes, but it's not 100%, plus I'm not sure how my aliens would react to having a new power. And the Shaketrix, that's going to be a whole nether issue, since I'm not sure if you're pass on to them as well. Gran Torino, listen here, kid, usually I would hammer it into All Might that he made a stupid decision. But she's going to die soon if you don't take it. And I know you have zero problems with murder, but something you should know about Nana. She's your grandmother on your mother's side. Deku, oh, I know the resemblance is uncanny except for the green hair, you know what. My entire life, I wanted a quirk until I got the Omnitrix. I was told I would be nothing without a quirk. But now I have the chance to have one, and yet it doesn't feel right, but I made a promise to her back when she was alive. Issei, won't be the only one with voices in my head. No offense, Lilith. Lilith, none taken. Deku places the piece of hair in his mouth and swallows it. He closes both of his eyes and clenches his teeth in disgust, trying not to vomit. Deku, I can taste the hairspray. Gran Torino, Wednesday we'll be heading to help the heroes with Stain, but I guess I'm leaving that to you. Deku, Marinette will keep the civilians out the way. Issei will make sure no hidden techniques or tricks get thrown at us. And I'm taking care of Stain fast and deadly. For the rest of the day, Deku is feeling his body change slightly until the Omnitrix flashes yellow, as well as the Shaketrix. Omnitrix, warning that is some unknown presence inside of your body. Would you like me to cleanse it or alter it so it can be used in all of your aliens forms? Deku, make sure I can use it in every alien form. Omnitrix, it has been integrated into your DNA, but there is a problem with one of your transformation code named Ditto. Unknown side effects of ability has transferred to Ditto. Shaketrix, this new ability has been integrated inside of every species in the Shaketrix, but there's an issue with the splix in DNA, but it is non-harmful, so it will be integrated perfectly. Deku, but it looks like one for us in my body. Over the next few hours, Deku trains and figures out that his body can't handle 100% in any just given limb, so he alters it so it flows through his body like a battery and can manage to use 15%. With no issue 20 if he wants to feel slight pain, but still manageable. Deku, okay, this feels weird, but now I know you feel with your super strength. Marinette is casually leaning back against the unit before her eyes widen as she quickly runs into the living room, getting everybody's attention. Marinette, Los Angeles is under attack by a group calling themselves the Red Ring. Deku, no thanks, that isn't our. Marinette, Trackstar is out because of them. Issei, screw what Aizawa said, we're going to Los Angeles. Gran Torino, what are you doing? Deku, Los Angeles is under attack and an old friend of Oz is currently in a coma. Because of us, so we're going there and we're putting the down once and for all. Gran Torino, I know I can't stop you even if I attempted to, but you're not going. Without me, these old bones need a workout. Issei, Marinette, do you get me? And Gran Torino, Marinette, I'm going to have to. Deku, let's just hope I get a quick one. Deku prices down on the Omnitrix and turns in a jet. Ray Marinette closes her necklace and picks up Issei in a piggyback style and Gran Torino bridal styles. They immediately set off, ripping through the sky and eventually flying over Los Angeles. They see everywhere on fire with villains and civilians looting and fighting. They land Marinette, putting Gran Torino down, him slightly wobbling, but sucks himself out quickly. Deku, Marinette get comms up and running. We cut to an office building where a brown-haired man wearing a blue t-shirt, half tucked in, and brown pants, sitting in a chair with a computer screen in front of him beeping like crazy with markers everywhere across Los Angeles. Hey, Robert, we need help. You think we can do all this alone? Robert, there's no one else who can help. We're all that's left. Well, Gollum, I need you to help with the traffic jam. Get there as fast as you can. 4 cards appear on the screen, each one showing a silhouette that then changes to Deku, Marinette, Gran Torino, and Issei, all in hero poses. Robert, hey, I don't know if you're part of the Z team. All of the silhouettes on the computer immediately stop in their place in confusion. Deku, we got 4 pros here who's been doing this for years. Looks like a casual Sunday. Marinette, come on, I've seen villain attacks worst in Paris. Robert, who the hell are you lot? Deku, well, I'm not known for my main name, but you might know Ben 10 because you got him in your squad for a bit. Z team, holy cow, we got Ben 10 on that team. Now, we can't go wrong. Robert, well, it's good to have you here. Flamby, I'm Flamby, your resident fire user. Invisible. Invisible, I can go invisible, but only when I hold my breath. Coop, Punch Up. I'm Punch Up, and it's nice to have a resident powerhouse on the team that isn't yours truly. Malvola, your resident demon, and unless you guys demon that watch, you might want to stay behind. Issei, well, I'm actually a devil dragon myself, so we might get along. Oh, by the way, name's Issei. Golem. Prism, I'm Prism. Waterboy, hello, I'm Waterboy. Phenomenon, and it's nice to have a residence alien on the team in our time of crisis. Deku, well, I'm Ben 10, Issei, and my other the girl is Marinette, she's a Kryptonian. Gran Torino, I'm Gran Torino, your resident Japan hero. Now that's formalities out the way, let's get this done. Robert starts sending them across the city, and that dealing with all kinds of issues. Deku and Malvola gets sent to deal with Sonar, which Deku find out is a huge Batman, or well, a man-bat, who can turn into an even bigger bat. As soon as they get to the location, a humanoid bat wearing a suit stands there without a tie as a bunch of glowing red eyes appear as people with cybernetic enhancement start standing behind Sonar. Deku, usually I wouldn't use this transformation since it's quite unfair, but well, you seem to have us outnumbered in general, so I guess 2 demons is more than enough for a butt kicking. Deku presses down on me on the tricks. The green flash momentarily blinding all of them, but when the lights dies down, Deku stands there as a humanoid demon with a sleek biomechanical design. Its entire body is covered in glossy black scales or plating edged in glowing molten orange, as if lava flows beneath the surface. Cracks of bright yellow-orange light radiate from its chest, forearms, and shins, giving the impression that intense heat or energy is barely contained within. The head is crowned by large, curved black horns and a smooth, featureless helmet that reveals only a single glowing yellow eye in the center of its forehead. Its mouth is open in a permanent roar, lined with sharp white fangs. Massive, tattered black wings or a flowing cape-like membrane extend from its back, and a long, segmented, whip-like tail ends in a sharp white blade. Its digitigrade legs end in clawed, 3-toed feet with glowing orange talons. The arms are disproportionately long and end in large. He speaks, his voice a deep, mini singing growl that sounds like he's trying to spit up lava. Deku, Devil Trigger. It's been a while since I've used this. Male Vola. You down to F later. Devil Trigger. I'm 14 turning 15 next week. Male Vola. Well, currently you're a demon Andrew, said you're Japanese, and since it's now commonly known that you are a quirkless human, so you're classed as a full-grown adult. Devil Trigger. I will think about it. Two balls of fire appear in Devil Trigger's hands. He launches them straight towards the goons before the fire rights through them after splitting up, and turning into spears. Devil Trigger looks at the remaining goos who have fire-resistant abilities and fire-base. To abilities, they immediately fire a huge wave of combined flames. Devil Trigger just stands there as the flames hit. Male Vola rushes at Lagoons and swings her blade, cutting them in half. She looks towards the flames that slowly die down too. See Devil Trigger standing there without even a scratch. Wong Goon sneaks up behind several Trigger and it is about to impale him with a knife, but then sizzling is heard. Male Vola reasons an eyebrow before she sees Devil Trigger's tail pierce the guy's stomach with his body starting to heat up, with his vital fluid visibly bubbling as his skin starts to melt as he screams in agony. The remaining 8 goons look at it in surprise and us shaking in fear. Devil Trigger. Oh, that's gonna hurt. I should mention the glowing part of my body aren't just for show. That's when Devil Trigger looks towards Sonar and stabs his tail straight into a sewer before Sonar could do anything. The sewer LED gets thrown straight at him and hit his shoulder, sending him flying through the wall. A red flash happens as Deku stands there in his normal form and watches Sonar fly away. In panic, Deku sits out of vents right next to where that all happened. Male Vola sitting next to him, but with her feet on the sitting area as she sits on the backrest. Male Vola. Best fight I had in ages. Deku. I mean, it was a decent fight for some lowlife. Robert. There's a fire across town, bin 10, and need you to go and deal with it. I sent Coop to be your backup. Deku. Sure, I will meet up with her. Deku start heading towards the coordinates. He meets up with Coop on their way to the location. As soon as they get there, Decor sees buildings on fire with a bunch of Red Ring members beating up and robbing civilians. Deku. I'll take care of the flames, you take care of the Red Ring. Coop. Works for me. Deku presses down on the Omnitrix. A bright green flash happens as Water Hazard stands there. Deku, Water Hazard. All right, let's deal with our stuff. Decor runs towards the fire is Water Hazard and immediately uses his most powerful water blast to put up the fire. He does so fast and agile, managing to put out all the flames in the matter of minutes. And before it could spread any further, Decor sees Ku. He stood on top of unconscious Red Ring members. Deku, you did good, assassin. Coop, you're not bad yourself. Through the rest of the night, Deku teamed up with every member of the Z team, and on multiple occasions fight Sonar. Everybody goes quiet for a while. Deku's confused since there's complete radio silence from Robert, and the main place Deku is sat on a roof with Punch-Up casually sat next to him. Deku, hey, is it just me, or we had to wait too much radio silence from Robert? Punch-Up, now that I think about it, it has been too quiet since we stopped most of the Red Ring, and now there's no more riots. Deku tops we on the Trix call, while is still pressed down as its flashes yellow. Deku, hey Marinette, you're on using a superior, and find out what's going on back at Dispatch. Marinette, a huge battle is going on currently, so I will moving in. A few minutes later, that Deku is standing on the roof as a woman wearing a bright yellow outfit, this being blonde blazer, immediately fly, sort of spider-like robot, that is both red and black, but immediately gets captured. Shroud, you're late. I expected you 45 seconds ago. Robert, what's a good thing? Not even I can predict these. That's one blonde laser that Shroud has immediately shudder. Shroud looks at it completely confused. That's why in fireballs complying out and nowhere and hits Shroud and his robot, sending them stumbling back. Marinette flies in before the robot catches her with green kryptonite being exposed to her. Shroud, not the Kryptonian I was expecting, but you're still a Kryptonian nonetheless. He closes the heart, exposing her to green tonight, but then a red gas sprays in her face, making her slightly dizzy. Shroud, that is a potent red kryptonite gas. Marinette breaks out of the robot's under, is about to go on a round page, but immediately gets hit in the face by the boosted gear and sent flying into a wall. Issei, I'll take care of this, since one of her weaknesses is magic, and I've got plenty of it. Marinette and Issei Both rush at each other and get flung through several walls. Shroud, now about you, Izuka Benjamin Tennyson. I finally get to meet you. Turns around to see Deku. Stood there, Deku just has both of his hands in his pockets as the ground shakes, as then all of his Z-team comes rushing out of everywhere and start fighting the Red Ring members. Deku transforms into 4 arms and rushes at Shroud and his robot Little, while later the wall cracks. As a Deku gets sent right through it, the watch flashes red as he turns into human form before hitting a chair and sliding and whacking his back against the wall. Deku, well, that hurt. Issei, Marinette is out, but so am I running out of mana. Deku here, is it through the Omnitrix and shakes. Slightly Deku leans back. Is it 10 Red Ring members walk out with the shadows holding weapons. Deku, do you mind? But since you all have your weapons out, I'm guessing you want to try and kill me. The Omnitrix plushies green is Deku looks down at it. Decor prices down on the Omnitrix, a humanoid robot like alien made of living sonic energy. He stands about 3 to 4 feet tall with a boxy, blocky design. His head is rectangular with a headphone-like crest on top and glowing lime green lines for eyes and a mouth that form a perpetual frown. 2 circular green speaker ports are embedded in his chest and forearms. Deku. Echo, echo. Deku presses down on the Omnitrix again. A green light somewhat scans his body, spreading out from the Omnitrix. In echo echoes, place a bulky, blue robotic alien with a sleek, armored design. His body is covered in smooth plating with black accents running down the torso, arms, and legs. Multiple large, glowing cyan disc sonic amplifiers are embedded across his shoulders, chest, forearms, thighs, and shins. These are the source of his vastly enhanced sound-based abilities. His head is dome-shaped with 3 glowing yellow-green eyes arranged in a triangular pattern and a small, flat mouth area. The iconic green and black Ultimatrix symbol is prominently displayed on his chest. His hands are 3-fingered claws. Deku, Ultimate Echo, Echo. Black discs fly out of Deku's hands. The center of the discs are a light blue, almost turquoise. 2 discs fly right next to each of the Red Ring members. Before the Red Ring members can do anything, sonic waves come off of the desks with a loud frequency ripping apart their eardrums and making that ears bleed. They try and cover that ears, but the sound is too powerful. After 5 seconds of it, they all drop to the ground, ears bleeding and pupils dilated. The discs return back to Deku, but then Deku spreads 1 to each of them, and the sonic wave goes off, killing them. Shroud has the entire of Z team surrounded, and all of the team is injured and barely clinging on. Shroud, it's over. Now hand over the astral pulse. Robert, and if we refuse? Shroud, we have you outnumbered, out fire-powered, and your strongest ally is currently unconscious and about to be killed by my subordinates. That's when one of Ultimate Echo's discs fly right in front of him. He looks at it in confusion. Shroud, what the hell is that? The disc multiplies surrounding the Mac, with one of them flying right in front of Shroud's face through the cracked glass. Ultimate Echo, Sonic Doom. All the desks let out a high-frequency sound that tear apart the outer shell of the robot. Shroud is start to bleed before he grabs the disc, turns it around, and the sound from the disc shattering each other. All of the Z-team turn their head to where the disc came from to see Ultimate Echo stood there with his arms crossed and looking very pissed off. Shroud looks towards the new figure, his expression filled with anger and confusion. Ultimate Echo. You calculations didn't expect for Ultimate, did they? Shroud, what the I didn't know you had a transformation for your transformation. Ultimate Echo. Yeah, well, it's not well known. Deku looks down at the Z-team to see a black Einstein wearing a yellow costume. Ultimate Echo. Truck star like the new look. Now you're not deal with the underlings. Shroud is mine. Deku flies through the air, sound making him glide across it with no issues. Before anything could be done by Shroud, a sonic discs appear in front of him and blast him across, and slamming straight into the wall of the building across from dispatch headquarters. Deku uses the sonic discs to rip apart Shroud's robot. Deku stands on the robot, looking down at Shroud, who is bloody and very clean on. Shroud, what kind of hero are you? Ultimate Echo, the no mercy kind. A sonic disc flies off his head and flies right in front of Shroud's face before Shroud could do anything. The disc goes off, killing him into a mess of red flash envelopes. Ultimate Echo is Deku, stands there looking down at his body. Deku turns around to see a complete battle between all of the Z team and the Red Ring. Deku, Omnitrix Energy Blade. Two energy blades appear from the Omnitrix, resembling the energy sword from Halo. Deku rushes in and starts slicing them apart ruthlessly, and without any mercy. Eventually, the sun begins to rise as everybody from this batch HQ is cleaning up, with Team Tennyson and Gran Torino sat there watching them cleaner. Deku, it's going to be Wednesday in 2 hours in Japan, and we'll have to be there for the night. So, Gran Torino, don't worry about it. We don't have to get there till 11 at night. So we still have the whole day to rest. Issei, I forgot how crazy you get with red kryptonite. Marinette, and I forgot how hard you poach, especially with magic. Prism, so you're sticking around, or are you going to go back to Japan? Deku, we will stick around for a bit. Punch Up, or heading up a bar after this. UN. Invisible, of course they're tagging along their members, the Z team. Deku, yeah, why not? I can go for a drink after this thing. That's when some police officers are about to bring Sonar into a police van, but Robert stops them, and they all head to the nearest open bar. The Z team and Team Tennyson are inside of a bar. Deku, hey, sorry about the few skickins I gave you. Sonar, hey, you just doing your hero stuff, I understand fully. Malvola, so Izuku, are you down to F? Deku, yeah, but not right. Everybody looks around in confusion since Deku completely disappeared. A small scream is heard as Deku face plants before an old-fashioned bar. Deku shakes his head before getting up and looking around confused. He sees a blonde man with a hammer, a woman with a shield, a green woman with black and pink hair wearing armor, to black man, one wearing a gold and black suit, and the other wearing a casual outfit. He turns to see a man with pale skin and the slightly weird cape stood behind the bath, and a bold man wearing an old-fashioned robe. All of the occupants immediately point their weapons at Deku. Deku, just shaking his head, he can't usually gets up and looks around confused. Deku, hey dipshits, where am I? Hey, do you know this kid? Omnitrix / Shaketrix. 3 unknown species are in your vicinity. Would you like me to scan the DNA? Deku, go for it. Free beams of light comes from both cores, scanning the blonde man, the green girl, and the bold guy. As soon as the scans are done, all free silhouettes of the figures appear on both cores before disappearing. Deku looks towards the blonde man, who has lightning sparking off his hammer. Deku casually pushes the hammer away with the Omnitrix, so he doesn't get sparked. Deku, hey Blondie, point that hammer at me again, and I will shove it up your rear. So who here is the one who brought me here? Because I'm confused as hell. And unless you want me to go full alien on your rear, I better know what the hell's going on. Watcher. I'm the Watcher, and quite frankly, I'm not sure how you got here, but let me introduce you to everybody. The one with the shield is Captain Carter. The blonde man is Thor, son of Odin. Chaka is the one in the purple jacket. He goes by Star-Lord. Killmonger is the one in the black and gold suit, and the last, but not least, Gamora is the green girl. This is Dr. Strange. Gestures to the man behind the bar. Gamora, and who are you? Deku. Izuku Benjamin Tennyson. I use the hero name Ben 10, and I will the most powerful weapon in the universe. Dr. Strange. Sorry, but these are the most powerful things in the universe. They're called the Infinity Stones. Each one controls a fabric of our existence. Deku stops and takes a look at 6 stones that float, each one perfect, and almost exactly the same except different colors. Watcher, time, space, reality, power, mind, and soul. With all of them, with a snap of your fingers, you can erase half of the universe. Deku, dude, I have a transformation that can do that 10 times over or recreate the universe. Which I have done, by the way. Thor, no offense, kid, not even Odin could do that, so what makes you think you could? Deku sees Thor's hammer left on the table, casually picks it up, and whacks him across the face with it. Everybody completely stops and looks at it with wide eyes. Deku, 'cause I can do that. So before I do something, I'm not going to regret what the hell's going on. Watcher, there's an evil robot that is currently scouring the multiverse, wiping out universe by universe, and I did assemble the team to eliminate him, but then you showed up. Deku, which I have no idea how. But hey, what the hell, I've been itching for a decent fight. All of them sit on a planet, But the Watcher is nowhere to be seen, the old chatting, and then Doctor Strange makes every video drink, but he makes Deku a thing of juice. Deku, juice, seriously, what do I look to you? Captain Carter, 1415. Deku, yeah, and in my universe, I'm legally allowed to get hammered whenever I want. So don't give me the weak thing. I need something that will give me a migraine, since we're going up against somebody who I probably have to do some really powerful thing. Doctor Strange reluctantly pulls out a bottle of very strong flicker. Deku grabs the bottle, pops the lid, and starts chugging it. Thor looks at Deku surprised before raising his hammer after smashing his empty glass, and then a huge red figure looks at them, but slightly transparent. Deku, so you must be Ultron. Ultron? Yes, and who are you? I haven't seen you in the multiverse. Deku, good, cause I'm about to cue 7 Ways to Sunday. Doctor Strange Kate points toward the rift. As Ultron appears looking down at them, Thor immediately charges up his hammer and fires a powerful blast. Deku silently steps through the still open portal and is followed by Killmonger and Gamora. They land any destroyed city. Deku sits back and prepares for the fight. He immediately double taps on the Omnitrix cord as 2 green circles appear, and Marinette and Issei hit the ground hard and shake their heads slightly. They both look at Deku surprised. Deku, animatronic coming up. We need to kick it, but before it destroys the multiverse. Gamora, who are these people? Deku, very close friends of mine. Marinette, we have a few minutes tops. Head to the sun and absorb its radiation. We're going to need all the power you can get. Marinette, I would ask more, but I know this is serious. Marinette immediately hands Deku her miraculous, and Tiki flies out and looks at Marinette slightly worried, but Marinette then blasts straight towards the sun at light speed. Issei immediately pulls out the boosted gear with Lilith spamming boost as much as possible, well, as much as Issei can handle without going into Juggernaut drive. Deku, everybody get ready. Killmonger, so it doesn't look like we're going to have to stick to the plan, so what are we going to do? Issei, hit hard, hit fast, and hit with everything we have. Deku, pretty much. Issei, go scale meal. Lilith, hell no, we got something way better. After those words are said, Issei, the entire body is encased in glossy black biomechanical armor with sharp crimson accents and glowing red lines tracing the plating. The helmet is angular and horned, featuring a narrow, glowing red visor for eyes and a skeletal lower jaw. 6 large, articulated mechanical wings black with red edges extend from the back, giving the figure a fallen angel or high-tech demon appearance. Both arms are heavily augmented. The right ends in a massive, multi-jointed claw, while the left holds or merges into a long, jagged red and black blade. Segmented cables and hoses run across the torso and limbs, reinforcing the cybernetic theme. The legs are digitigrade with clawed feet, and a short, spiked tail protrudes from the lower back. Lilith, black dragon drive. Issei, kinder picture when I have to kick Marinettes, and it's the only reason why I'm so kicking. That's when the rest of them fall through a portal holding the soul stone. Deku, Issei, everybody. Everybody, Issei. You currently don't have time to drink full introduction, but I do have another friend who's currently recharging in the sun. That's when a woman in a black bodysuit on a motorbike with a silver and red shield cones that skinny paths and swiping the soul stone and pointing his gun down. That's the way another rift appears as Ultron steps through and looks at them all very annoyed. Ultron, I see you have brought 2 more people to their demise. Issei just points his phone up to the sky, making Ultron confused before he looks slightly up as a foot lands directly on his head as Doctor Strange puts up a strong magic barrier and quickly encases the 2 new members in a magic barrier. 340. Deku, Marinette, move hard and fast, do not let him hit you. Marinette gives a nod before flying around the world, landing punches while the rest of them crush at him and land stronger, powerful blows. That's why Ultron holds his hand out, trying to do something with the reality stone glowing, but then he looks down Ice's chest and sees a hole where the soul stone should be. Ultron, you took my stone. Ultron then extends his hand as the time stone lights up and starts swirling with energy. Deku slams down on me on the tricks, turning into clockwork. As soon as the beam of time from Ultron gets shot towards all of them, Get You fires a beam out his chest, both beams collide, making Ultron's eyes widen. Lilith, explosion. Issei lands one strong, powerful blow straight into his face, cracking half of his helmet. Marinette immediately swoop, saying flies under the direct center of the beams and swipes the soul stone and quickly passes it straight to Issei. He holds it firmly in his hand. As the energy starts swirling around it, he goes in for 8 punch, breaking Ultron's arm clean off before Ultron could do anything. Deku's beam hits him straight in the other arm before he could do anything, quickly turning his hand into dust as he locked at it in surprise. Clockwork. This alien allows me to manipulate time. Ultron uses the time and reality stone to quickly rebuild himself. The power stone grows as he goes to pull the earth towards at him, but then he looks down to see the space stone, missing Issei. Casually opens his other hand, the opposite one to which landed the blow, to reveal the blue space stone. Issei, Izuku, what happens if I fuse this thing to the boosted gear? Marinette crash land right next to them, hunting heavy and slightly exhausted. Marinette, it looks like I'm going to be out for a while. I absorb way too much energy. And just do it. What's the worst that could happen? Before anything could be said, a small robot fries it straight past all of them and swipes both Infinity Stones and hands them to Ultron. Deku lets out a sigh and looked at everybody's expression. Some of them are horrified and some of them are injured. Deku, Alien X isn't going to cut it. Marinette, what are you planning? Deku, Omnitrix command code override code 10. Omnitrix, command override accepted, voice activation activated. Deku, Omnitrix unlock forbidden playlist code 00 annihilation 00391. Omnitrix, which one of your forbidden 10 aliens are you going to transform into? Deku's lips move as everything goes completely silent. A bright green flash envelopes Deku when the flash dies down. A fearsome figure outlined in glowing red energy against a stark black background. It has a humanoid form with 4 arms, each ending in clenched fists crackling with power. Its head features large, curved horns and a singular, menacing red eye. The chest bears a stylized symbol, possibly indicating its connection to Ben 10's Omnitrix. Deku, Rad Scare. Deku floats inside of a black void with red stars flying around him. In front of him is Rad Scare. Deku, now listen, I kind of need your power to defeat somebody. You could destroy universes. Rad Scares, sure, why not? Deku, I know you've been on destruction and... I'm sorry, what do you say? I heard you. Wrong. Rad Scares, I said you can use my power, but since I do technically want to control my body, I control the abilities, you control the body at least, then it's more wifey tag team situation. Deku, so you ready to put this guy in next month? Marinette is looking at Right Scare, slightly panic, and prepared for the worst. Rad Scares Gibson. Marinette, a thumbs up before Ultron has all 6 Infinity Stones back in that original places on his body. Deku casually pulls his fingers forward as reality itself pulls Ultron towards him before Ultron could do anything. A powerful punch from Rad Scare knocks 4 of the Infinity Stones out his chest, and they casually float in front of Deku. Deku swipes his hand towards Issei. The 4 stones that disengage themselves from Ultron immediately connect to the boosted gear before Ultron could get too far. Deku grabs Ultron with both of his hands, rags him forward, and it needs him directly in the skull, cracking his metal skull and revealing the Mind Stone. Old Crown panics, but then Force Hammer hits him square in the chest and rips right through Ultron. Deku smokes before he casually waved his hand, his armor being immediately erased. And the last Infinity Stone that was on his armor immediately flies to the boosted gear. Deku slaps Ultron so hard he flies across the world. Deku holds his hand out as Ultron flies back around and immediately gets crushed by Deku. Immediately rips out the Mind Stone and all launches the stones towards Issei. Then all 6 Infinity Stones fully merge with the booster gear. Ultron's eyes widening before Deku casually flicks him and he erases him from existence. That's when the Washer appears and looks at what just happened, surprised. Rad Scare, well, you do your own thing, we're heading back. Deku, Marinette, and Issei immediately get teleported back in the bar. Everybody looking at them confused and surprised immediately transforms back. Deku, sorry about that, overworldly problems. Sonar, Hey, as long as we finish the string before you have to go. Malvola, so what time suits you? Deku, well, I do need to go back to Japan to sort out hero business. Malvola, well, just give me your address, and I'll be there tonight. Deku hands her a piece of paper with his address on it. The Omnitrix flashes green as they all get ready to head back to Japan later that night. In Japan, Team Tennyson is sat on a rooftop with pro heroes looking around and on edge. Marinette, currently I can't track out Stain, too many heartbeats, too many sounds. That's when an explosion is heard as weird creatures that look like an amalgamation of body parts and with dark skin and exposed brains. Issei, Noma's almost forgot about them. We'll deal with them. You track down Stain. Deku, I see 10 of them. Yes, wouldn't take you like 5 minutes. Gran Torino, I'll keep an eye on the 2 of you and make sure civilians don't get in your way. Deku start free running across the rooftops. He then hears a painful grunt in an alleyway and immediately slows down, turns around, and looks down. He sees Ida in his hero costume lying face first to the ground with Stain on top of him, ready to bring his blade down, but then stops when a fake cough is heard. Staying out of pure human instincts, looks toward where the sound came from and sees Deku there with both arms crossed. Deku, sorry, but I can't have you killing my classmate. Stain, what about this girl? And the hero? Deku sees a hero laying face first, barely alive, and Isumi with a knife sticking out of her leg. Deku, why does it have to be this annoying? Deku intoxicated his hand down his face in annoyance. Deku, and I guessed him as well. Deku prices down on the Shaketrix. A female, humanoid version of Stinkfly appears and immediately swipes all of the injured. Deku presses down on the Omnitrix, turning into a humanoid mole weighing a green bodysuit and with a big yellow mustache. Deku Molestache. Deku's mustache turns into 2 giant fists. Stain looks confused before Deku runs up to him and punches Stain square in the nuts with one of his mustache fists. Deku continuously punches Stain in the nuts with his mustache. That's when the Omnitrix flushes as Deku stands above Stain, who is foaming at the mouth and holding his nuts. Deku, I have to think punch up for the technique. Deku turns back to normal and looks down at Stain. Stain, what now? Take me to jail. Deku, no. Prison is way too good for you've done. And when you get out, Yogs, continue doing what you do. Omnitrix Energy Blade. Stain's eyes widen as Deku deploys his energy blade and rams it right through Stain's gut. Stain, now that's a true hero. That's when news reporters rush there and see Deku standing over Stain's body. Deku immediately turns into XLR-8 and zooms out of their daze, past a green jet flies close to the ocean. The jet's design is a sleek green one, with black and gray lines and green frosters. It flies close to the ocean, the force from its speed slightly separating the ocean. Just around the jet, Deku sits inside of it with Jenny, Charmcaster, and Raven. Deku, I kind of met somebody, but when I was doing my internship. Charmcaster, oh yeah, we know she came around the house and explained her situation and how she kind of felt for Devil Trigger. Raven, enter all. You have 2 more slots. Deku, wait, I'm already at 5. Damn. Jenny, so where are we going exactly? And why isn't Marinette and Uncle Issei coming with us? Deku, Marinette went back to Paris for a while. She has some stuff to clean up as Ladybug. And Issei needs to sort out some things and was kind of called by Rias about something, so I didn't get the details. Venom, so where are we going exactly? Deku, you're new to this. There's this place called Island. It's the most heavily advanced place on Earth in the form of technology. And I was invited to give a speech, and I sort of accepted since I had nothing better to do since school's out for a few more days, and I could bring up to 3 people. Raven, and this jet. Deku, oh, this thing, yeah, I got it for saving the universe at one point form an alien invasion. You know, the usual hero stuff. Jenny, is that why? There's a cupboard full of medals in the house. Deku, yeah. Medals of honor for saving the universe. I lost count how many I have, so just reel more in the cupboard. The jet lands on a private landing spot as a blonde-haired woman and a tall man stands next to each other. When the jet lands, it is the size of a massive cargo. Jet the back opens and slowly a ramp forms as Deku and his family walk out. Deku, wearing his green jacket, his black t-shirt with the number 10 on it, and black pants, and his red shoes. Deku, David and Melissa. Shield. The tall man talks first while holding his hand out. David, yes, that's us. I'm David Shield. Deku casually shakes his hand Melissa and leans forward and holds her hand out after Deku finishes shaking David turned. Melissa, so you're really Ben 10 as in the #1 vigilante in the world. Deku, I'm guessing a fun girl. Melissa pulls away very embarrassed. David, yeah, she kind of is a fun girl. By that I mean you enter a room, it's literally covered in your merchandise. Melissa, Dad. Deku, well done. 2 question yes, I am Ben 10. I've even got the alien device to prove it. Deku raises the Omnitrix. Deku, can we get settled and I want to take a look around before the event tonight. Melissa, I could give you a tour, it's no problem on my end. Jenny, I'm going to go in here. Any free snack bars? Venom's hungry. Jenny walks away with both hands in her pockets. Her walk is exactly the same as what Deku does when he's annoyed or bored. Deku, do I seriously walk like that when I'm bored? Charmcaster, yeah, I've seen you walk like that when you were bored during a fight. Deku, yeah, let's go on the tour. Then we'll help the room and prepare for tonight. Deku presses down on a keychain as the door on the jet slowly closes and locks. Melissa shows an around island after the tour decking meter with some of 1A at one of the cafes. Momo, show Marinette and Issei didn't come with you. Deku, they had other matters to take care of. Jiro, well, it's too bad, but hey, at least you're here. Ida, by the way, Tennyson, how did you get here? I didn't see you on the plane. Jenny walks up and sits next to Deku and Jiro. Mineta, hey guys, I didn't expect to see you here. All of them turn to see Mineta and Denki wearing suits. Deku, didn't know you got a day job. Denki, well, we mainly got this so we can get the free passes to the event that's happening later. Plus it gives us some extra pocket money. Deku gives him a quick note of respect before they go back to what they were doing. That's when a purple portal that looks like a crack in reality appears. All of them are prepared, but then Deku just raises his hand as Malvola steps through wearing more cleaner clothes than she usually wears and that cover more of her body. She gives Dekuna a quick kiss on the cheek. Malvola, sorry I'm late. Took me a while to find this place. Yeah, how did this to get the coordinates for this place? It's a good thing I asked Marinette. Mineta, okay, what's with the demon check? Deku, that is my girlfriend. Melissa, but I thought Charmcaster and Raven were your girlfriend. Deku, 2 of my girlfriends. Denki, how many do you have? Jenny, well, that's got 5 girlfriends. Mineta stops and chokes on air. Achiko just blinks several times before speaking. Achiko, do you have 5 girlfriends? You've only just started high school a month ago. Mineta, well, he kind of had it with all of you yet, right? Jiro, are we having done it yet? Melissa, not yet. He's waiting to take me out on a date before we do the deed. Momo/Raven, he did us at the sports festival. Charmcaster casually gestures to Jenny, who is scoffing her face with chocolate cake. Deku, oh no, what about Afma and KC? Raven, don't worry, I left Namuri. Charmcaster, is it a good thing she agreed to be our babysitter whatever we needed? Momo, I know, right? Ida, who is this Namuri you were speaking of? Deku, that's Midnight's real name. You didn't know. When she kind of found out about what I did, she agreed to be our babysitter whenever. Melissa is trying to process what she is hearing later that day. Deku was walking with Melissa through a dorm building that is slightly high-tech. Melissa, thanks for coming to agree to check out this project I've been working on. Deku, well, I need to get my suit in that on that I can do that later. They walk down the hall and eventually get to a room labeled Melissa's Shield. She uses her card to open it. And as soon as the door opens, she immediately gets embarrassed as the walls, floor, and bedding are covered in Ben 10 merch. Deku, now I know what he meant. Melissa, I kind of forgot my room was like this. Melissa shows Deku to a workshop that looks slightly high-tech but still looks ancient compared to the lab in the ship that he found the Omnitrix, and she looks around for a few minutes before pulling out what looks to be a red-knuckled duster. Deku looks at it. Before putting it on, Melissa presses a button on it, as it forms right the way up his arm to his shoulder. Deku, nanotech is durable, I can tell you that much, but forearms would probably rip it in 2. Melissa, well, it can withstand free of Uncle All Might's max-out punches. Deku goes quiet at that, and Melissa notices. Melissa, you don't like All Might, do you? Deku, my father was even dead a year. My mother remarried him. They had my sister or half-sister, not even a year between us. He didn't know I was Ben 10. I asked him could have quirk, was become a hero. Melissa, and what did he say? Deku, you want to be a hero, even without a quirk, it is not realistic you just seen that villain firsthand, and yet you didn't do anything to try and defend yourself. So I honestly don't think you could be a hero without a quirk. Those were his exact words. If I didn't have the Omnitrix, and I wasn't who I am. Those words may have made me take my own life. Melissa punches the wall, her knuckles start to bleed. Slightly, Deku just raises an eyebrow. Melissa, seriously, after all those heroic speeches about anyone being a hero, he just met those with powers. Deku, you don't need a quirk to be a hero, you don't need superpowers, you don't even need to be alien being heroes doing the right thing no matter the cost. That's how I've always seen it. Melissa, yeah, I know I want to be a hero, but for how powers would just be a liability, so I put my efforts into technology and support equipment. Deku, just like a Batman quirkless, and yet still goes around picking. Melissa, yeah, you're right. I have a question, though one of your villains, Kevin 11. Have you seen him in a while since I know you fought Vilgax during the Esh attack, as well as a few other reveals? Deku, now that you mention it, I haven't seen him or Dr. Animal in a while, which is good, but the fact I haven't seen or heard anything about him in that longer time means something big's coming. Anyway, we need to get ready for the party. A while later, everybody is sat and standing inside of a hallway waiting for everybody. That's when Deku steps out of the elevator. Wearing a black suit with a white shirt, the top part of the suit acting like his trench coat, but with the ends ripped and only one button closed in the center of this chest is polished black. Shoes hit the tiles on the floor cleanly, and without any sound, Deku looks around to see Momo wearing a red dress that hopes her figure perfectly all the boys in a plain black suit, Melissa wearing a yellow dress, and without her glasses, Jiro in a dark green suit buttoned up nicely. Malvola is wearing a crimson-red dress, a few shades lighter than her skin. Ochako is wearing a big frilly pink dress. All the girls' eyes that Lockwood Deku with the Omnitrix casually sat on his arm. Deku sawed out the black gloves that he has on both of his hands as he looks at all of the girls in the place. Malvola, after this I'm having him. Jiro, all in favor fame to wear that suit on our weddings. Deku's group, definitely. Denki/Mineta, dude, how are you picking up hot chicks like that? You have to let us know. Deku, hey, where's Jenny? Deku looks towards Charmcaster and Raven, who I both wearing black dresses but in the same style as Momo's. Charmcaster, she thought this was going to be a boring event, so she decided to stay in her room with Venom. Deku, well, let's get to this party. That's when a security alarm goes off as all of the shutters slam down, covering all the windows and doors. Deku, well, tonight just got interesting. Ida, we should try and head to the party to see what's going on. Deku leads all of them straight toward a giant glass ceiling for the party that is guarded by a railing. Deku looks across from himself, is Izumi and the Todoroki twins, as well as Katsumi. Shoto walks up to Deku and fist bumps, and Deku does it. But reluctantly, Deku looks down to see all of the heroes captured by blue lights that is acting like a powerful string. A bunch of guys wearing masks walk in, as well as one guy wearing a white suit. Deku listens carefully as the guy speaks before walking out of the room. That's when his eyes locked with the guy who's staying behind. He quickly takes off his suit as one of the people from the party gets gutty and runs toward him. The guy immediately touches the ground as his body gets coated in metal, and he punches the guy straight into the walls as he slides down. That's when the guy removes his mask to reveal a tall man with messy black hair, with a punk-like look and a chain with a padlock around his neck. Deku, Kevin 11. Melissa, do you think we can get control of the security system again? Because it doesn't look like there's any main console, so I can't use upgrade to access the system. Melissa, well, I can reboot the main system, but we need to get there, and it's on the 100th floor, and we're currently on the 2nd. Deku, so we need to get to the top 4 and save the heroes. Well, you know what time it is. It's hero time. Momo, create decent shoes for everybody that isn't high heels because we need to be able to move fast. Rainbow sparks appear on Momo's hand as she hands all of the girls that were wearing high heels flat shoes. Charmcaster snaps her fingers at the same time Raven does hers, as Raven wears her usual hero costume and Charmcaster wears her Rate and Gila outfit. Malvola, hey, I can't teleport out of here. Okay, isn't open a rift. Melissa, yeah, about that. When the system's unlocked down, an anti-teleportation frequency is played at such a low volume that it can't be heard, but it's still functional, meaning no one could teleport in or out, and teleportation powers are kind of useless. Deku, So escape's impossible. The on the way taught to do this is to take down the actual system. Need to get close enough so I can use upgrade. Melissa, or we just need to get to the 100th floor. Izumi, Ron's we can get all my free, we're good, I think I can rip it from here. Shoto, I'll keep her under control, you just get the systems back up and do what you need to do. Deku, let's get this done, the faster we do the better. A lot of them head to the stairs. Since the elevators are offline, we cut to the Occult Research Club building with Issei sat on a chair. Issei, so what did you want to ask me about? You may sound urgent. Rias, it's about your brother Izuku, Benjamin Tennyson. Issei leans forward very seriously. Issei, what about him? Rias, well, I want to use my free piece to invite him to join us, and I'm surprised I mentioned him earlier. And when were you going to tell me about Lilith? Issei's thoughts. Right, I have a really bad feeling about this. Good thing she doesn't know about the Infinity Stones. Lilith, the reason why I didn't want you to know about me is because I can. Issei, doesn't matter what you do, he won't join you, he works solo. No groups, no parties. Rias, oh no, I wasn't asking you to bring him here, so I can make him one of us. Having the Omnitrix under my belt would be quite helpful in certain scenarios. Lilith, yeah, I know offense, I've seen that men with two different kinds of god, you won't be able to control him with only one evil piece, you'll need your entire set, and to even attempt to have him knowledge. Rias, don't even worry about it, see, I have a friend who bust my piece once I told him what I'm going to do, so just bring him to me. Issei's thoughts. She's going to have a real bad realization when the Omnitrix repairs his DNA. Lilith telepathically. No, I'm just surprised if she doesn't get her head blown off by Alien X. Issei's thoughts. Trust me, Alien Exit will annihilate her now, way big, could do right here from existence. We cut back to Ireland. They're all hidden behind the bush as a few villains holding guns are stood by the elevator. Raven, so what we're going to do? Deku, well, if we set off the alarm, the high chance you might get surrounded in a matter of seconds. F it. Well, on the 8th floor, if we play itself, we're going to take very long time. Melissa, when the alarm sounds, all of the main doors close, and it's a fail-safe, so there's no getting past it, meaning the only way in and out would be through the stairs and straight up to the 100th floor, but we will have to stop on the 50th to change staircase. Deku, oh, we're going to have to move out fast. I'm not sure how many there are, but I don't want to be around if we ever get around it. And what are you doing? Momo is creating a large Gatling gun with an ammo belt. Malvola holding the Gatling gun. Momo, well, you did say I could create guns, so I shifted my attention from both staffs and shields to firearms. Deku, I ain't complaining. Jiro pulls a 12-gauge shotgun's pump back and slams it forward. Melissa lifts up a dress and pulls out a Mark I Desert Eagle. Everybody looks at her with confusion. Melissa, did you all forget American? Deku, fair enough. Izumi, we shouldn't kill them, it's not heroic. Deku, movies bullying somebody for being quirkless for the last 10 years. Or is it different when you do it? Shoto, just keep on away from me, otherwise I might do something I definitely won't regret. Deku and his girls hop over the bushes. The two villains look at all of them. Deku blinks as a bullet brings right through the first guy's head, blowing a small crater through it. The second guy goes to make a move before bullets rid of his body from the Gatling gun. Jiro, okay, guns are just overpowered. Dinky, why do we stop using them? Raven, actually we still use them in America. Malvola, I use a really big sword, but I think I gotta give me a Gatling gun. Deku, we'll head to Los Santos to find your weapon. Warning, Stage 10 breach on the 8th floor. All security robots from the 9th floor upwards have been activated. Deku, we're gonna be in for a huge fight. They all start running up the building floor to floor, destroying robots. Eventually, they make it to the 80th floor, but they end up on a rooftop. Melissa, we can't go any further, we need to get up there, but the only way is from an emergency entrance on the outside. A bright green flash enveloped Deku as he turns into Stinkfly. Deku, Stinkfly. Okay, Melissa, you're with me, the rest of you stay here and make sure no one gets past. All got it. Deku picks up Melissa and flies to the emergency exit. Deku uses his tail and rips it open before flying in and transforming back. They run up the stairs before a man with blade arms comes rushing around the corner and stabs Melissa straight in the shoulder with a second blade, ramming through her gut. Definitely transforms into Diamond Head, creates two diamonds blade on his arms the same as him, slam him into the wall, and walks up to him. Diamond Head. So you like to stop people with your blades? I wonder how it feels. Blade arm villain. I'm just doing what I got paid to do. Deku rams his blade right through his chest and encases his insides with diamond before it explodes out, killing him. Deku transforms back and looks at Melissa. He quickly puts pressure on her injuries, trying to stop the bleeding. Melissa, never thought I'd go out like this. Hey, at least I got to meet my hero. Deku, you're not gonna die. Omnitrix. Galvanic mechamorph DNA, fuse, and her target. A green flash envelopes her body. In Melissa's place stands a woman with the Omnitrix logo tattooed on her right shoulder. Her outfit is replaced with a white trench coat, short black skirt, and a trench coat like drowns her, resembling upgrades pattern. She slowly blinks awake, looking at herself, and noticing her hair went from blonde to black. Melissa, what happened? Deku, I let my guard down. You went ahead, and you got stabbed. I have to rewrite your genetic code. Melissa, so what am I now? Deku, well, I went for the one with the most versatility, and giving your love for science, I kinda just went with upgrade. They both head up to see David being pulled away by one of the villains, leaving the white suit, putting on a headpiece, while Kevin touches the ground, absorbing the material into his body. Kevin 11. Surprised to see me. Tennyson seems to sent me to the Noel Void. I picked up a few tricks now. I have a score to settle with you. Deku, Melissa, take control of the system. Kevin's mind. The alarms wailed through the ruptured control room, bathing everything in a flickering red strobe. Steel beams groaned overhead. Sparks burst from shredded consoles. Smoke crawled along the floor like a living thing. In the center of the ruined chamber, two figures stood only a few feet apart, face to face, breath mingling in the hot air. Izuku Benjamin Tennyson held his ground. His shoulders rose and fell with the heat of battle already behind him. Dust and grime clung to the edges of his jacket, the green and black pattern of the Omnitrix insignia dim beneath the crimson lights. His right hand hovered near the twin-core Omnitrix on his wrist, the pink and green reactors pulsing with steady power. Across from him towered Kevin Levin, older, broader, carved in jagged lines of metal, chipped stone, and glass that shimmered along his skin like fused armor. His eyes were cold, animal, filled with something hateful that went deeper than rage. Kevin, you've got some nerve showing your face here. Tennyson. Deku/Ben. You came looking for me, Kevin. I didn't drag you back. You busted in. Kevin. Or I did. Kevin took one step forward, the metal along his right arm shifting like liquid mercury before sharpening into a blade like ridge. His breath scraped out of him like a growl. Every movement carried the weight of someone who had been stewing in vengeance for far too long. Kevin, I spent years in the null void thinking about what I'd do when I saw you again. Every minute in that place felt like another bone breaking, another promise I made to myself. And at the center of every one of those promises was you. Izuku didn't flinch, but he didn't take his eyes off Kevin either. The air between them shook with the tension of two forces who had collided too many times to count. Deku/Ben. You know, I didn't want to leave you there. You were out of control. You were hurting people. Kevin, spare me the hero's speech. Kevin slammed his fist into the wall beside him, and the metal around his knuckles tore itself free, flowing up his forearm. The material reformed into thick armor plates that made his silhouette larger, more monstrous. Smoke rolled off his shoulders from the friction. Kevin, you didn't save me. You threw me away. And now, I'm taking everything back. Izuku's thumb pressed down on the Omnitrix dial. Deku/Ben. I won't let you hurt anyone here. Not again. If you want to fight, I'll stop you. Kevin. Oh, Tennyson. I was hoping you'd say that. Izuku slammed the dial down. A burst of neon blue energy exploded around him, forming a swirling cyclone before collapsing inward into a new shape. When the light faded, XLR-8 crouched low on digitigrade legs, visor glowing, tail snapping behind him like a whip. His claws clicked against the metal floor. XLR-8, Deku. Let's try this the fast way. Kevin charged instantly, no caution. No build-up, just pure hate-fueled momentum. His metal-plated feet cracked the floor with every step as he swung a jagged arm straight at XLR-8's head. But XLR-8 was already gone. The world blurred. Red alarms became streaks of color. Air split around his body as he dashed sideways in a gale of movement. Kevin's swing tore through empty space, the force of it denting the floor where the alien had once stood. XLR-8 Deku. Too slow, Kevin. Kevin, stand. Still. Kevin ripped a steel pillar out of the ground and hurled it like a spear. XLR-8 ducked, skidding sideways, the shockwave rattling. The plating on his visor. Kevin slammed both hands into the floor. The metal beneath him liquefied for a split second and surged upward, forming jagged spikes that shot toward XLR-8 like missiles. XLR-8 Deku. Okay, OW, who taught you that? Kevin. 5 years in the null void gives you time to practice. XLR-8 zigzagged between the spikes, weaving through the barrage with blinding agility. He leapt onto the wall, sprinted across it, then launched himself downward in a spinning kick straight across Kevin's jaw. The hit actually knocked Kevin sideways. Kevin, TCH still annoying. Kevin absorbed the steel platforms beside him, the plates folding into his skin and making him even bulkier. His arms thickened, growing heavy with reinforced nails and sharpened edges. Then Kevin vanished. XLR-8 Deku. Wah. Kevin moved in a straight line fast, brutally fast charging with the weight of a truck behind him. XLR-8 narrowly dodged, but the second charge clipped him, sending him rolling across the floor. Kevin, you're not the only one who learned new tricks. Kevin lunged again, grabbing XLR-8 by the tail mid-dash, and slammed him into the floor hard enough to send a shockwave through the chamber. XLR-8's visor flickered from the impact. XLR-8 Deku. Okay, out timeout. Kevin, no timeouts in revenge. Kevin raised his arm to crush him. The Omnitrix beeped. XLR-8 twisted his wrist just enough, slamming the dial. A flash of emerald and pink light detonated outward. Kevin staggered back as a much larger silhouette rose from the smoke. Forearms stood tall, muscles bulging, red skin gleaming under the alarms. Black markings crackled with faint arcs of electric green, energy, tiny sparks of OFA threading across his biceps and chest like lightning scars. 4 arms Deku. Remember this? Kevin froze. Just for a second. The memory hit him the old days, the first fight, the broken trust. Kevin, you really had to pick him again. 4 arms Deku. You hated this guy back then too. Deku's 2 lower arms grabbed Kevin by the shoulders. His upper arms locked around Kevin's chest. Then he threw him. The impact shattered a computer bank into dust. Kevin roared, pushing himself out of the wreckage, but 4 arms was already leaping, landing in front of him with a quake that shook the entire floor. Kevin swung a stone and force punch. 4 arms blocked it with one hand. OFA sparks erupted. The force blew Kevin off his feet and across the room. Kevin, what the? 4 arms Deku. I'm stronger than last time. Kevin, so am I. Kevin dug his fingers into the ground. The floor melted around his arms as he absorbed the material, re-emerging with a hulking, concrete and metal frame. His back sprouted jagged pipes like crude spines. His footsteps grew thunderous. Kevin and 4 arms collided head-on. Shockwaves exploded outward, ripping entire panels off the walls. 4 arms grappled Kevin's arms while OFA sparks shot down his forearms, blasting Kevin's armor apart in smoking chunks. Kevin responded by raking jagged metal claws into 4 arms' shoulder, drawing sparks and deep gouges. Kevin, you think you're the hero. You think throwing me away made you better. 4 arms Deku. I never wanted to throw you away. Kevin, liar. Kevin slammed his forehead into 4 arms' jaw. The impact rattled Izuku's skull. 4 arms staggered back, dazed, and Kevin barreled into him, tackling him through a reinforced door and into a secondary control bay. Deku pushed him off with all 4 hands. More OFA sparks shot outward, throwing Kevin into a generator coil that exploded in a flash of light and shards. Omnitrix. Warning. Power load exceeding stable output. 4 arms Deku. All right, tactical switch. He slammed the Omnitrix. Lightning flashed. Steam whirled. 4 arms collapsed inward, replaced by a small but commanding figure with crustacean limbs and an enormous, crackling brain exposed beneath a transparent dome. Brainstorm rose, sizzling with electrical power. Brainstorm Deku. At last a more intellectually fitting form. Let us proceed. Kevin. Oh great. This nerd again. Kevin yanked a chunk of superconductive wiring from the broken generator and absorbed it. Electric veins lit up under his skin. Kevin, you like electricity, Tennyson? Let's see how you handle this. Kevin unleashed a surge of blue lightning. Brainstorm countered instantly, redirecting the current through his claws and firing it upward, splitting the ceiling in half. Brainstorm Deku, your attempt at electrocution is noted. It is also pathetic. Kevin, keep talking. Kevin charged again, but this time his body started shifting uncontrollably. Absorbed metal plates twisted. Stone crumbled into shifting scales. Energy veins pulsed pink, the same hue as Deku's secondary Omnitrix core. Brainstorm Deku. That energy signature, that should be impossible. Kevin. Oh, it's very possible. Kevin slammed Brainstorm against the console. The Omnitrix sparked. Kevin, you got 2 power sources in this thing now, right? One green, one pink. Let me guess, this little one is special? Brainstorm Deku. Kevin, don't. Kevin, I think I'll take it. Kevin grabbed Deku's wrist. His claws closed around the pink core. Brainstorm Deku. Kevin, stop. Kevin. Too late, Tennyson. The world exploded in violet light. Kevin screamed, not in pain, but in triumph, as pink Omnitrix energy tore through his body. His frame expanded violently. Armor split apart. Metal and stone shifted like liquid. His silhouette warped, hips widening, chest reshaping, limbs elongating with terrifying symmetry. Hair like tendrils of molten metal spilled down her back. A massive, monstrous, feminine amalgam stood where Kevin had been a towering creature that dwarfed even forearms. Her eyes glowed bright pink with Omnitrix corruption. Smoke curled from her fanged mouth as she grinned. Female amalgam Kevin. Now this is power. Brainstorm stumbled backward, stunned. The creature stepped forward, shadow swallowing the floor between them. Female amalgam Kevin. Round 2, Tennyson. The fight wasn't over. It was only beginning. Debris rained down as Kevin's massive fist smashed into Izuku's chest and sent him flying backward through a support column, a wall, and then straight into an overturned control console. Deku's body hit the metal panel so hard the entire machine collapsed inward, showering him in sparks that hissed and spat dangerously close to his skin. Smoke filled his lungs. His ears rang. His vision blurred. Kevin's new, towering feminine amalgam form stalked through the hole she had made, each step shaking dust from the ceiling. Female amalgam Kevin. Come on, Tennyson, don't pass. Out on me now. We've only just started playing. Izuku barely managed to lift his head from the shattered console. Deku weakly. Still not done. Then, a pulse of green energy flared beneath his hand. The Omnitrix symbols on both cores flashed at once, green and pink sparking violently, and Deku vanished in a burst of blinding emerald light. The light twisted into a serpentine cable of electricity, snapping upward, forming limbs, plating, sockets until a tall, black and green silhouette stood in the wreckage. Feedback stood where Deku had been, tail crackling with current, conductive prongs glowing a fierce emerald white. The twin Omnitrix symbols pulsed along the chest plates. For the first time in years, Izuku Benjamin Tennyson was feedback again. Nana Shimura and Banjo Daigoro, watching from within the mental OFA space, both blinked in shock. Nana, he transformed mid-knockout. Banjo, kid's full-on mad. The Omnitrix shouldn't even have this form anymore, and he just pulled it back. Nana, wait, is his quirk reacting to the alien transformation? Banjo, oh yeah, big time. Look, watch closely. The kid's not just an alien right now. He's a one-for-all user in an alien body. Nana and Banjo turned as the energy around Feedback's shoulders sparked violently green arcs of OFA weaving into the alien's bio-electric field. Nana, he just unlocked Float. Banjo, and Black Whip. Oh, this is going to get crazy. Feedback flexed his fingers, electricity dancing between the prongs. His voice vibrated with static resonance, but still unmistakably his. Feedback, Deku. I can feel it. The flow. OFA's full current, but focused. 30% controlled, like full cowling. Black whip tendrils flickered out from the plugs along his arms, coiling like living cords of electricity and shadow. Feedback, Deku. And these? He stabbed his black whip tendrils directly into the sides of his own conductive sockets. Feedback, Deku. I can plug myself in. I can channel more energy. Not from my hockey or quirk, but from any power source. Banjo laughing hard. Oh, this kid is deadly. He figured out Feedback's absorption trick in 2 seconds. Nana, he always was good at thinking on instinct. Kevin roared, fury shaking her enormous mutated frame. Pink Omnitrix energy pulsed through her veins as she charged, each step cracking the floor beneath her feet. Female, amalgam Kevin. Stop talking and fight me, Tennyson. Feedback lunged forward, but instead of attacking, he whipped one arm toward the destroyed console he'd crashed in moments ago. Black Whip punched into it like a spear. Electricity flooded into him, rushing through every socket, every conduit, every prong. Feedback's entire body glowed like a living lightning rod. Nana, he's absorbing the reactor core's leftover charge. Banjo, and amplifying it through OFA, holy hell. The floor cracked under Feedback's feet from the sheer power building inside him. Kevin leapt forward, claws raised to impale him. Female, amalgam Kevin. You think a little spark. Feedback, Deku. No, this is a lot of spark. Feedback ripped his arms free from the console. Every socket across his body flared open pure emerald lightning, swirling around him like a hurricane. He threw his hands forward, prongs aimed directly at Kevin's chest. Feedback, Deku. Eat this. A nuclear blast of electricity erupted from Feedback's fingertips, white hot, roaring, spiraling like a controlled storm. The bolt hit Kevin dead center, lifting her colossal body off the ground and blasting her backward in a straight line. She smashed through a wall, through a second wall, then through a support pillar before cratering hard into the far barrier of the chamber with a thunderous boom. Smoke rolled from her chest. Her armor hissed and melted. The pink glow flickered erratically. Feedback lowered smoking arms, vents still crackling with residual charge. His tail flicked with smug electricity. Feedback, Deku. Now I remember why I love this guy. He turned slightly, eyes glowing bright. Feedback, Deku. Feedback rules. Deku transforms back, the silhouette of Feedback appearing on the Omnitrix core before fritzing out. He looks towards Kevin and sees just a giant hole in the wall. Melissa, well, I've got the systems up and running again, but they're still going to be able to escape. Deku, I got this. Deku uses Black Whip and stops into both sides of the hole before using one for and leaping forward in rocket industry to the roof. When he gets All Might and Isumi just taking down the villain Deku, it's about to do something, but then a huge red pole is in the center as Vilgax steps through, only this time looking more like he did in his classic days, but bigger and way more intimidating. Every step turns the rubble beneath him into dust. Vilgax, Ben Tennyson. I am here to claim the Omnitrix after 10 years. Deku, what are you talking about? Saw you a few months ago. Vilgax, inferior copies while my body was being rebuilt after you blew me up. Deku immediately transforms into Humongousaur, runs at him in his giant state, and land one punch that Field Axe grabs with ease. With one hand, Deku goes for a second punch, but gets blocked with his of a hunt. Vilgax, is this or you have? Pitiful. Vilgax punches Deku in the face with his own hand before letting go, grabbing his face and spunning him through 8 floors. Deku goes ultimates and fires rockets and punches him straight up back to the roof. Vilgax shrugs off the rockets and continue landing blow after blow without letting him breathe. The metal rods sticking out of Vilgax's for arms immediately stop into him, and his arms become twice that original size and easily picks up Deku. You by the neck. Vilgax tops his finger on the Omnitrix core, forcefully changing Deku back. Vilgax, I see you have made improvements. No matter. The Omnitrix will belong to me one way or another. Everybody watches Deku, get to being up by Vilgax. Deku is looking around panicked for anything to escape. That's when a green surfboard flying through the air hits Vilgax square in the head, sending him flying a bit and releasing Deku. Deku grasps the hoverboard, looks at the Omnitrix to see the core red and flashing. Vilgax, I have disabled the Omnitrix. Without it, you can just a human. Deku, Charmcaster Raven, isolate this area with a magic barrier. Deku gets on the hoverboard and starts flying around, trying to transform. The Omnitrix flushes green. After 10 minutes, Deku, transforming into a creature that is the same size as Vilgax. Its main body is black with very jagged edges with green spots all across, it looking like moss growing on it. Its fingers are for long claws that could easily slice through concrete. Deku Reaper. Well, this one is new. Let's go. Reaper quickly appears right behind Vilgax and slices right through his. We can immediately go down to its regular size. He does the same for the F1 and then rams a blade right through his gut. Vilgax tries to grab him, but Deku turns into a black mist that immediately reforms 1 meter from where he was grabbed. Reaper, I am human without beyond the tricks, but that's what makes it fun. I could go hero, and when I do, something happens. Reaper clenches his fist before punching Vilgax straight in the face, cracking the face mask, and then slicing through the pipes. Vilgax immediately grabs all of the pipes and tries to reattach him while breathing heavy. A portal opens up behind him as a robot immediately takes him away. Omnitrix. Omnitrix will have to go on a 3-day fall down to recharge spent-up energy. Deku stands stead after a bright flash of red, him looking at his arms in curiosity and amazement. Deku Reaper is awesome. Deku then falls and passes out. All of the people that will with him heading to the party immediately runs up to him and makes sure he's okay. Melissa walks up to All Might and slaps him across the face. Melissa, I don't want anyone near me, All Might. Melissa walks up to David and makes sure he's all right. So this was the end of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.